If you've ever watched option buyers lose their minds over an EPS move that happened to be priced in, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. We did it. We made it. We made it through the huge event of the week. Nvidia earnings has come and gone. As kind of hinted at, option sellers win the day. Okay, AI, what's next? Can we move on? What's kind of going on next here? We're going to break that down here today. We're going to cover all the news seems to be about some of these earnings. Of course, we've got Dell tonight as well, but we have a loaded show for you here today. Louis Navellier at 8:30 and Paul Meeks at 9. So let's just get it rolling. Benzinga's pre-market playbook for Thursday, February 27th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks, and happy Thursday. I hope that you had a great rest of your hump day yesterday, and hopefully you enjoyed or at least did something for the Nvidia earnings print that we got. I know options were pricing in a 10% move. We were talking about this being the biggest thing. I couldn't turn on any financial TV station or go to a financial website without being bombarded by Nvidia earnings, and lo and behold, we really didn't move a whole much. How about them apples? Great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. Paul, good morning. Hopefully you're doing well. Sun-Kissed Yogi, good morning. Welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Do-It-Yourself Has, good morning. Welcome back. Sergeant Sexy, checking in early, so you know we are ready to go. Chuck, good morning. Chuck, I appreciated that comment yesterday about you asking for weekly reports from your previous employees that were working under you. That was phenomenal. Good stuff. Creation, good morning. Welcome back. Hemanta, good morning. It's good to see you again, too. Jim, welcome back. Jane, good as always. Hand-waving emoji. Let's go. Brandy, great to see you again. Ed, welcome back. Easy money indeed. We're going to try and make some more of that here today. JK, good morning. Welcome back. Bobby G, good morning. Hello, Phil. Welcome back. Big Bees, how are you doing, man? You ready to go? San, welcome back. Nikhil, welcome back. Diamond Hotline, good morning, boss. Thanks for checking in with us again. Daramog, good morning. Fairchild, good morning. Crystal, good morning. And Javon, I hope I pronounced that right. Good morning. All right, folks, we are off. We're going to take a look at the SPY here. Day Trader, it's good to see you. Zoo, it's good to see you again as well. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Oh, I've got to get the right thing open here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. What's amazing here is that the range, we've really just really haven't done anything. I hate to even say that because I know we've been active here and we found things to trade on a regular basis. But man, when it comes to the broader market and the indices, we really haven't done anything for the past 3 days, right? On Monday, we broke beneath the 50-day and we closed below the 50-day. And since then, there really hasn't been much of anything in terms of getting this market to forecast or start the next move here. We've really been trapped between the 100-day and the 50-day here. Now, it's worth noting that in the pre-market here today, we have green arrows across the board. S&P futures up 0.6, Dow futures up 0.2, just a little bit more, and NASDAQ leading the way higher here at 0.8. So green arrows across the board. We're setting up for a pretty positive day, or at least the pre-market is telling us that. But if you take a look at this daily chart, you'll notice that the price right now is actually butting up to the 50-day moving average. So we definitely want to see if we can get above that and hold above that, and then hopefully close above that. You'll notice here on Tuesday, we actually tried to test the downside range. We tried to test the 100-day. To use Anne Marie's term, we actually peaked below the 100-day, but the buyers said, nope, we're not ready to break down yet, and they brought us right back into that range. Yesterday was the same type of deal. We actually had an inside day. If you look at the body of the candle itself, that was inside. I understand the wick went a little bit higher, but the body of the candle still inside. And today it looks like we're going to try some of that upside area. Now, the key here for me, which is what it's been the same key, frankly, the last few days here, is what do we do with the pre-market move, right? Pre-market move, last 2 days here. We were higher yesterday. We dipped out of the open, went higher, and then resolved lower. The previous day, futures were flattish. We sold out of the open, tried to come back, didn't really break down, tried to come back, but sold out of the open. Day before that, same deal. Futures were actually higher here. We had green arrows across the board, very much like we do today. Sold out of the open, tried to bounce, but then resolved and went to the lows. So the key takeaway that I have is that the market that we found ourselves in before, dips were getting bought. And now it seems like it's changing to, instead of dips getting bought, rallies are being sold. And I just wonder how much longer this is going to kind of proliferate here. I want to know what the next direction is. I'm like an impatient child waiting for Christmas. I want to see which way this market goes next so we can try and form a swing trade around that thesis. We'll see if we end up getting that here today. U.S. stocks likely to open higher after Nvidia's blowout earnings, and they were pretty good earnings. We're going to check on that next year. This is still a bull market. This is still a bull market. So that is what the analysts are saying here. I did want to run through this here real quick. Producer, I'm sure that you will take care of the links for me. Much appreciated. There was a note in here. Here we go. Jim Cramer tweeted. This was yesterday, right? This was very early this morning. One of his morning thoughts here. Tight trading in Nvidia is more of a sign that no one knows how to value amazing earnings than it is that there's something wrong. You folks tell me what you think about that. Is Jim right here? I know we poke fun or we make fun at his expense quite a bit, but his timing just really seems to be the chef kiss in some cases here. I am curious to see how Nvidia holds up today. That's obviously going to be one of the big things that we're going to watch here. One of the other things that we're definitely going to want to watch here today is whatever Nvidia does, what does it also affect, right? So if Nvidia starts trading up, what stocks go with it? Do we see some of these smaller stocks that we've taken a look at that have some type of connection, like Sound, that had some type of investment or working with Nvidia? What do those stocks do? What do some of the other bigger AI stocks do? What do the quantum names do? Those have been Momo names. Are we going to get more move to the downside? Are we going to get a return to some of the high prices that we had? And then what do some of its competitors do? Is this actually an opportunity for AMD? How's that going to trade here? So a lot of questions are still going to be answered. I definitely want to hear how you folks or what you folks think about this print. I would imagine if you guys were trying to trade this for the actual options print, probably pretty disappointing. There wasn't really a whole lot of action, and there isn't really a big move. Nvidia holding plus 2.67% here in the pre-market. Like I mentioned earlier, the options priced in a 10% move. We didn't even get close to that at any point, really. So just really interesting. Sean B here. Nvidia Quantum Day is March 20th, and it's going to be lit. Quantum stocks moon soon, question mark. This is kind of what I'm saying. We do have the quantum event coming up. We've talked about that here. It's still just a little bit less than a month away. What do the quantum stocks do in the meantime? What do some of the other AI stocks do in the meantime? A lot of interesting stuff. We're going to check it out, and we're going to ask Paul Meeks about that as well. So, all right, let's dive a little bit deeper into the Nvidia earnings here. Nvidia key Q4 numbers. Nvidia reported fourth quarter revenue of $39.3 billion, which is up 12% quarter over quarter and 78% year over year. This is where those record-breaking quarter quotes are coming from. The revenue total beat a street consensus estimate of $38.05 billion. We gave that to you yesterday. The company's revenue total was a company record. Jensen, quote, demand for Blackwell is amazing as reasoning AI adds another scaling law. Increasing compute for training makes models smarter, and increasing compute for long thinking makes the answers smarter. So Jensen Huang here, clearly still very bullish and still doing his thing where he is, I don't want to say pumping because that's the wrong term, but clearly talking very, very high of his company. He's been doing that for a while. He goes on to say, quote, we've successfully ramped up the massive scale production of Blackwell AI supercomputers, achieving billions of dollars in sales in its first quarter. AI is advancing at light speed as agentic AI and physical AI set the stage for the next wave of AI to revolutionize the target industry. So again, talking about the ramp here, talking about the huge move, talking about all of the great stuff to come in the future here. And one of the other things that he discussed that I also thought was quite interesting was DeepSeek. We actually wondered about this ahead of the earnings print. We wondered about, data center AI spend. We wondered about CapEx spend, and we wondered about what they were going to say about DeepSeek. And we finally have our answer here. The TLDR, quote, DeepSeek was fantastic, end quote. So obviously Jensen here not really threatened, and instead actually views it as a positive. Remember, this is the exact position or similar position that Sam Altman took when that first happened here. So what happened? Quote, the amount of computation necessary to do that reasoning process is 100 times more than what we used to do. End quote. That was Jensen to CNBC following the quarter there. Really good interview with him last night. Huang specifically mentioned DeepSeek's R1, OpenAI GPT-4, and xAI's Grok 3 as models utilizing reasoning process that requires substantially more computing power. This comes despite a 17% stock drop in January, triggered by concerns that DeepSeek had found a way to achieve better AI performance with lower infrastructure costs. Quote, DeepSeek was fantastic. It was fantastic because it's open sourced a reasoning model that's absolutely world class, end quote. So remember, Altman said that we were going to learn from all these different iterations of the LLMs and the different GPT tools that come out. Jensen seems to be reaffirming that here and does not see this as a headwind for Nvidia, at least not at this time. Looking ahead, Nvidia projects first quarter revenue of $43 billion, exceeding analyst expectations of $41.75 billion. Ramp is huge here. Huang emphasized strong demand for the company's new Blackwell AI supercomputers, which achieved, quote, billions of dollars in sales in its first quarter. Demand for Blackwell is amazing as reasoning AI adds another scaling law, increasing compute for training models. Smarter and increasing compute for long thinking makes the answers smarter. So wild stuff here. Amazing seemed to be the key word of this report. I think the last one, it was insane, right? He said demand for Blackwell was insane or something like that. So he's using a lot of these hyperbolic statements still, and still looking pretty good here, at least on his end. All right, another thing here, another story here for NVIDIA. Jensen Huang admits the first NVIDIA Blackwell chips faced hiccups, praises the team for an amazing recovery, and then says Blackwell Ultra is on track for a second half of 2025. So despite the initial delays with the Blackwell chip, this is something else that we were kind of waiting for the report. We had actually talked with Matt Maley about that earlier, kind of hypothesizing, boy, what would happen if they talked about another delay with the Blackwell chip? What would that mean? Well, we got our answer. That's not going to happen. And in fact, it's the opposite. Jensen here commending the team for, despite the delay, they're still able to get on with things there. It remains, he goes to say, he has rest assured. So, excuse me, CEO Jensen Huang has reassured, it's early, investors that Blackwell Ultra remains on schedule for the second half of 2025. Investors definitely wanted to hear that. That's definitely a positive and stopped some of the big downside moves that we could have seen here. During NVIDIA's fourth quarter earnings call, JP Morgan analyst Harlan Sur asked Huang about the demand and rollout strategy for Blackwell Ultra, given that the company is still ramping up Blackwell chips. In response, Huang acknowledged that the first Blackwell chips faced a hiccup that probably cost us a couple of months, but said that NVIDIA has already fully recovered. Quote, the team did an amazing job recovering, end quote. So, all right. Here you go with the Blackwell. You know, one of the things that we were talking about yesterday with 13 was the launch of the gaming GPUs, the RTX 50 series. I did get a chance to do my homework last night and watch that video. And just as 13 said, I completely concur. Absolutely fantastic. Must watch video. I understand that NVIDIA is chasing AI now, and that's the big thing, but it's worth noting that they were built on the backs of gamers and these chips being the best in class. If that changes, what does that mean for the company? I know they're promoting AI. I know that's the big thing on the street, but this is a very real thing. that Nvidia has relied on. So we definitely don't want to see that come in at all, or show any type of negative action there for Nvidia. Next here, Nvidia's Q4 revenue surges over 78%, nearly 8 times higher than 5 years ago. Pretty awesome stat here by the Kobisi letter that I'm going to show you. Analysts debate the stock's next move as Jensen Huang says Blackwell production has been ramped up. So I take this and I pose this to the group. What do you folks think for Nvidia here? What is the next move? Producer, I don't know if you have polls set up here for today, but I think one of them might be, what's the next direction? Where do we get, let's call it the next 15 or 20 points on Nvidia? The next substantial move. Is it up, down, or do we just kind of poke around and trade sideways here? I'd like to hear from the group what you folks think about all of that. Getting back to the article here, the chip makers' daily revenue reached $427 million throughout the fourth quarter. Almost $500 million a quarter, with data center sales primarily from AI-focused GPUs surging 93% year over year to $35.6 billion, now accounting for over 90% of total revenue. As I said, they were chasing AI there. That just goes to show you. Here is, just to put it in context, the Kobisi letter, an excellent follow on Twitter. I recommend everyone do it. I follow it myself. NVIDIA's Q4 revenue by year. Look at this. Look, you want to talk about a ramp? You want to talk about a ramp? Look at this. In 2015, $1.4 billion in revenue. By 9 years later, 2024, that is $39.3 billion in revenue. Just an absolutely massive ramp. NVIDIA's Q4 2024 revenue of $39.3 billion is now 8 times higher than it was just 5 years ago in 2019. So NVIDIA's absolutely hitting it on the screws here. They continue to outperform. I know that we've kind of talked about maybe Nvidia being the thing that kind of cracks and brings the rest of the market down. Well, so far we haven't seen anything like that, or we have not been given those signals. So we'll see where that ends up panning out here. Risk Reversal co-founder Guy Adami, love Guy Adami, been watching him since I started this business on CNBC, expressed concern as potential margin deceleration, telling CNBC, quote, "If margins start to decelerate, that's when these stories typically get long in the tooth." Well said there by Guy Adami. Now, we'll see what we do here today. As mentioned earlier here, as far as the SPY goes, I want to see if we can hold some of our pre-market gains. Remember, on on Tuesday, we sold off right out of the open. And when we started to bounce, we did not roll back over, right? We actually bounced. I think we still closed red, but we closed significantly up off the lows. And then yesterday, on Wednesday, we were higher in the pre-market, higher out of the open, only to retest the previous day lows and hold them. So what do we do here today? Do we actually take out those highs from yesterday? A real quick look at that. Let me actually get it on the chart here, and then we'll also take a look at Nvidia, because I do think these two things are going to be the big drivers here today. So what am I looking for on the SPY? What kind of makes sense to me? Well, can we actually break this 589.90 to the downside? I mean, the first level we're going to look at here is going to be 592. Obviously, this is where we bottomed yesterday. But some of these highs in here, 600, can we recapture that today? Is that on deck here for today on the SPY? And then, of course, what does that mean for the rest of the market, and particularly Nvidia? What is Nvidia able to do? Are we able to take out the impulse highs from the report yesterday? First move, by the way, on Nvidia was down. So as soon as the number came out, Nvidia traded down, immediately reversed and went higher. Then it kind of stayed sideways. Today, we do see it kind of curling up. If we back out to the daily chart here, there are some more key levels that we're taking a look at. We're above the 50-day here. Are we able to get above the 100-day? And do we make any type of move towards the top end of this channel, or the 141 area that we have identified as a key level? So, there we go. Ryan Milligan, can we play devil's advocate? What negatives are there? We absolutely can. So Pete already answering here. Negatives, possible tariff implications. The other thing was kind of what I was already hinting at. There were issues with the Blackwell chip kind of overheating. That was kind of a questionable decision. Again, that definitely can be a negative, especially if that continues to happen. But then the other thing, again, from the video about the RTX 50 series, I don't want to clobber you over the head with too much of the technicals there, but basically the cards that they are selling for, $2,000 and sometimes $3,500 per card are actually not giving you what's advertised. And now also, as mentioned, with that being kind of the building block for Nvidia to get where it is, one of the things, the way I look at graphics cards and have for a long time is basically Nvidia is best in breed. It just is. So if I want the best possible card with the best possible reliability, I'm going to pay a little bit extra for Nvidia. But it looks like now that some of the tech guys are digging into that, maybe that's not actually the case. They don't seem to get the performance that they mention. They seem that the performance increase over the previous generation is not nearly as much as believed. And one of the defects going on with the RTX 50 series cards results in a 4% performance loss. NVIDIA kind of says that this is NBD. It's no big deal. I'm here to tell you that a 4% loss on your graphics card, especially after buying a brand new one for $2K, that's a big deal. Hate to say it, but that absolutely is. I do see some risks out there, Ryan, and this is a really good question, and I appreciate you trying to look at the other side in a day where stocks trading up and everyone seems to be happy that the market didn't fall apart. That's great. I just don't know if any of these are going to take hold. As mentioned, with them chasing AI and with that kind of being the big thing, they're clearly hitting it on the screws there. So just wild stuff. We'll see what ends up happening with NVIDIA here. The big thing for me that I guess I'm kind of wondering is, do we actually set new highs? And furthermore, if we trade up towards the highs and we're unable to get above those highs, does this set up for a short? Now, I know I just spoke something unspeakable, right? I can't even believe I said it myself. I pinch myself to make sure I'm alive here. Do we short NVIDIA? Does this set up for a short? Well, I'll tell you something. If this can't set some new highs on the back of that earnings report and the market really doesn't start going gangbusters at all, and we're kind of have some indecision here, yeah, I can absolutely see NVIDIA coming off some of those highs. And the first thing that I would look for if we make some of those highs, let's just call it around 150, a roll over to the 126 200-day moving average, that might actually creep up towards 130. By the time it's still 20 points the downside. So I'm with you on this, Ryan. I don't have a position on this. I am looking, though. This is one of the reasons why I really want to see what the next direction of everything is. If we can get that figured out, we can probably trade alongside of that. Okay, let me see what else do we have here. The negatives are still hypothetical at this point, at this time, frankly. Harris, definitely, right? Like some of these things are actually real. Like the issue that I'm describing here with the RTX 50 series, like this is a real thing. Like you can find some of these cards, you can test them, you can get the data yourself. But some of the other problems or how that actually like impacts the bottom line, I guess we're not really seeing it yet. So it's good to be prepared for the negatives, but we also have to be very, very mindful of how well the company is executing. The growth rates slowing. So Ryan, you pretty much hit the three, right? We mentioned tariffs. There's still some uncertainty on the tariff side, but we'll obviously watch how that plays out. We talked about the rate of growth slowing. That was the point of the quote from Guy Adami there, and the gaming sales slowing down. Really, the question here on the gaming sales slowing down is one thing. Losing market share to competitors like AMD would be quite another. And do we even want to throw Intel in there? I know AMD and Intel don't make top-of-the-line GPUs like NVIDIA does, but if the Blackwell chip is not giving the performance that it was billed, or if there are inherent problems with some of the cards, does this then represent an opportunity for Intel or AMD to develop a better card and then close some of the market share gap on that? That would be a big question for me. So there are definitely some questions out there, but so far it looks like full steam ahead today. I guess we'll watch the trading action and see. Maybe when the market opens here, traders say, "Yeah, I don't think that we really trust this. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is peak earnings. Can they really do better? How many times can they raise the bar and then jump above the bar? Right? Eventually, they're going to raise the bar and they're going to plow right into it. And I think that that's kind of what we're looking for here. Right, we're looking for where is the top in this stock? Where is the potential reversal? I can appreciate the question because you're trying to be as early as possible. Okay. Let's see. I'm just catching up on some of the chat here. Okay. Good stuff there. Let's see what else. Sorry, I got lost here in all the different stories. Okay, I did want to take a look at IONQ because that was one of the quantum names that also reported earnings here. IONQ down 5.3% here in the pre-market. Now, if we're going to start here with the daily chart, first of all, we had this nice triangle we were looking at. We've broken out of the bottom end of that triangle. One of the things that we were trying to do is figure out, which direction of this are we going to break out of, and we can make maybe some assumptions about some of the other quantum names. Well, it sure looks like we're breaking out of the bottom of this now. And with this earnings, we've now lost the 100-day moving average. So next level down here that I'd be looking at, probably about 22 and a quarter. Then also this $19 level, which is right where the 200-day moving average is. We'll see if IONQ turns it around here. Let's take a look at the actual report here itself. IONQ Q4 EPS misses. $500 million offering, CEO appointment, and acquires stake in ID Quantique, which I'm actually not familiar with. This reported, okay. IONQ reported quarterly losses of 93 cents per share, which missed the analyst consensus estimates of a loss of 21 cents. Quarterly revenue came in at 11.71 million, which beat the analyst consensus estimate of 9.93 million and is an increase over revenue of 6.11 million from the same period last year. Up here. Okay. As we enter 2025, IONQ has a strong pipeline that we believe will enable us to lead in the area of commercial advantage. Last year, our rapidly expanding quantum networking business line closed 3 major networking contracts. McKinsey expects the quantum networking industry to be worth 10 to 15 billion within the next decade. So here we go. The big story that we've been kind of following with some of these quantum names is how close is it actually? And some of these companies do different things. And all of that. This one here telling you still probably a decade away here. So again, I don't think we're out of the woods here on this. I think we're going to continue to have some back and forth about the viability of quantum and how close we actually are. And that should make for some good, decent trading there. Additionally, the company announced 2 definitive agreements with SK Telecom and ID Quantique, as mentioned in the header there. One is to acquire a controlling stake in ID Quantique, and the other is to enter into a strategic partnership focused on quantum with SK Telecom. The transactions will be paid in IONQ common stock. So you could then make the assumption here that, okay, well, maybe that is why this is down. They're doing this with stock here. So stock got absolutely blasted yesterday, traded down to a low here in the after hours of just about 24. It looks like 23 and change there. So far, we've come up off the lows, although we have not fully gone back to break even. That's going to be right at about $30. Currently sitting here at 28.33. So as far as some of the quantum names go, I would like to know, are you folks interested in this? Is this something that you're trying to trade? What's the outlook here from the traders group here on the quantum names? Matthew here, good morning, all. I'm curious to see what other quantums are going to do in the near future. I am worried. That viewpoint is shared across the market. I'm worried in the sense that some of these names are going to fall out, and I know that some of our traders actually hold these names. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I'm not really worried about the long term as it comes to quantum. Not yet. There's really nothing there that has me worried. So, okay, folks. you are in for a treat. We are going to go to our special guest here today. Let's give a warm welcome to Louis Navellier. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Louis, good morning. Happy Thursday. How are you doing here today?
I'm good.
All right. I just want to get right into it. First of all, I can't thank you enough for joining us. I do quote you all the time. I follow a lot of your quotes here. We do that here on the show. I'm just going to ask you right off the bat here. What is your economic and market outlook right now?
It's fine. I think the worries over consumer sentiment might have been weather related, and because January and February were tough months for the weather. Everybody cheers up in the spring, so I think we'll see that improve. I will add, though, the Conference Board is a very good, legitimate survey, so I definitely need to see that turn up after two down months. But I would add that manufacturing turned up according to ISM.
Mm-hmm.
If we get peace in the world, that's going to be explosive for GDP growth. So if we could even briefly hit 5%, we won't be able to sustain it. So I think things are good. Earnings have been wonderful. I mean, sales are up over 8 on the S&P. Earnings are up over 16. We're going to have double-digit earnings growth for the rest of the year. It's just time to be happy. You know, Nvidia was obviously the grand finale. A couple other stocks going to announce like Costco, but it's been a stunning earnings announcement season, and this has been a phenomenal week for me because I've had a lot of stocks pop in the wake of their earnings.
Okay, that's awesome. Can you talk about some of your favorite stocks for 2025?
Well, I mean, in full disclosure, my largest holdings are Nvidia and Supermicro. So obviously, I'm obsessed with those.
Mm-hmm.
You want to expand beyond those two AI stocks. I would look at the infrastructure stocks, building out the grid. One that announced this week was MCore. Another one that announced the previous week was Quanta Services, PWR.
Mm-hmm.
I like independent power producers like Vertiv, VRT. I would add that one that I really like on the power side is, there's two of them, AGX and PSIX. Those are more smaller cap, more erratic, but a much more upside potential. As far as AI expansion, you saw Planetary Technologies got hit. That's a good buy on this pullback. AppLovin, of course, got hit by the short sellers yesterday. Another phenomenal buy. AppLovin has the potential to be the next TikTok. I'm sure they're going to do a deal with TikTok at U.S. ownership because that's where the president's dance is. On TikTok. So I'm sure he wants that out there.
Actually, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that. AppLovin, we were trading yesterday on that move, so it's good to hear that. Your model that looks for stocks, can you tell me what it looks for in a stock? Like, what makes a really good stock to you?
Well, first of all, we like high alpha stocks. So what a high alpha stock is a stock that zigs when the market zags. So we like high alpha, low beta, low standard deviation. And that's our quant model. And then we have an 8-factor fundamental model based on sales growth, margin expansion, earnings stability, earnings momentum, cash flow, return equity, balanced earnings revisions, earnings surprises. So essentially, our average stock's got over 20% sales growth. It's got over 58% earnings growth. Again, earnings are growing faster than sales from margin expansion. That margin creates a lot of earnings surprises. But we also count on the analyst community revising our estimates higher, creating this perpetual motion underneath our stocks. Typically, we'll hold stocks for 4 to 5 quarters and get long-term gains. But we have found ourselves in a conundrum where, it's we got a lot of embedded capital gains, and we're a little careful to sell because we don't want to pay all the taxes. And we love monopolies. Another good example would be Lilly with the weight loss drugs.
Mm-hmm. Okay, real good stuff there. Let me ask you, how did you find your model in the first place? How did you kind of stumble across all of this?
Well, that's a kind of a long story I've explained in my books, but essentially in the late 70s, I was helping build index products for Wells Fargo. They came to my college and made us do all the hard programming they needed. This is when everything was on mainframes and was C programming. And Uh, I was in the Berkeley area, and I was taught that markets are efficient. We can never beat them, and so let's devise these new tracking models to track the market. They had passed a law called ERISA, and we were trying to match the market. Anyway, I figured I needed 332 stocks to mirror the market. I'm a beta of one and all that stuff. But what happened is I was a failure. My models kept beating the market, so I learned I was lied to. There are anomalies and inefficiencies out there,
Hmm.
and I set out to document alpha existed, and that's what led me to publishing. I've been publishing ever since. All our research is online, free now in the public domain through my publisher Investor Place or through my management company at Navellier.com. So we give all our research away free. And we think if you index, you're basically a loser. So we don't want you to do that.
Okay. That's really good stuff there. Be sure to check that out. Navellier.com is what he was just saying there. You had talked a little bit there about Nvidia and SMCI being your favorite position or your biggest position. So obviously you're big on that whole AI angle there. Do you believe that growth is over for some of the more speculative names like drones, space, quantum, or nuclear, some of those other stocks that kind of moved around with the AI theme? I think we might have a internet hiccup there. We might have lost him there. We'll see if we can see if that comes back here. Yeah, I think that had a little bit of a drop there. Let's see if we'll give him a second, see if we can get him back here. All right. So let me actually take a look at some of the stocks that he was mentioning here. I gotta say, I absolutely love that he mentioned AppLovin, especially after what we were doing here yesterday. So here's a look at the chart. We'll see where this one goes next, but excited to see that. All right, think we are back here. A little bit of an internet snafu there. Sorry about that. Don't know where I cut off there in my question, but question here was that do you believe that growth is over for some of the more speculative themes like drone, space, quantum, and nuclear?
I don't have any nuclear stocks. I mean, you can buy a CCJ if you want to play the fuel thing, but I don't buy things unless they earn money. So yeah, I don't have any of the small modular reactor companies.
Mm-hmm.
I would add that as far as quantum computing goes, you were talking before I got on about IO and Q. They have the strongest sales growth, but as Jensen pointed out, quantum computing is 15 to 30 years away from profitability. So the safest way to play quantum computing is Nvidia with its quantum cloud simulator. Of course, Google, Amazon, Microsoft all have quantum chips. But I think Nvidia is the safest way to play it. All these other companies like IonQ are trying to figure out how to package quid bits so they can do the cloud computing on with ones and zeros on the quantum stuff. But I'm not really a big theme guy. I'm a like, what have you done for me lately guy. I happen to have two egg stocks because there's egg inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Calpine and Vital Farms. Vital Farms, I think, announces today, by the way. And I count on earnings to drop kick and drive the stocks higher. So I will buy them as long as they're earning money. I will fight the short sellers like crazy. A lot of our stocks do attract shorts. A good one is a good example is Citadel. Citadel just
Oh yeah.
squeeze the shorts. So I enjoy squeezing shorts and fighting with those guys. So.
Okay, that's good. You're in the right spot if that's the case. I'll tell you that much. And regarding the whole quantum thing there, that's kind of been the back and forth. How close are we? I know Jensen was saying 15 to 30 years. We had the D-Wave CEO saying that we're doing it right now and Jensen's wrong, and there seems to be a battle there. I'm on the same side as you. I still think it's kind of far away, and I think some of those opportunities, we have plenty of time to take a look at some of those. On the international side, where do you see the most growth in emerging markets? Which countries should we be paying attention to?
I don't.
Okay, so U.S. then.
Everybody's in a recession except for us. I mean, the growth in Asia is very weak. Thailand just cut their rates this week. China's rates, bond yields fell below Japan. We think China is going to be the next Japan with rates at or near zero. They have huge demographic problems in Asia. Japan has the highest birth rate of any country in Asia. You go over to Europe, let's see, Britain's in recession, France is in recession, Germany's in recession. Even Mexico went negative last quarter. So we're the oasis for the world. We're food and energy independent. Obviously, what Trump, Howard Lincoln want to do is they want to onshore as much as possible. So, when they're negotiating country by country, it's pretty simple. They're going to say, okay, you German auto manufacturers, as long as you plan to open up plants in America, we'll give you all the work visas to move your workers here, because you can't exist anymore because your power is 4 times what it costs in America. So why don't you just move all your operations over here and we'll facilitate it. And of course, our states are fighting to throw bonuses at them and all that stuff. That's the other thing that really makes America great. Not only food and energy independent, we got better demographics, we assimilate our immigrants. We got here, but our states compete with each other, and that creates a very, very unique framework and a very positive business environment, no matter who we elect.
Okay. Awesome stuff there. How attractive do you I guess you kind of touched on this with the emerging markets answer there, but how attractive do you think growth stocks will be in 2025 on a quarter over quarter basis? We have a lot of talk going on right now as the market feels frothy. Maybe we're at the highs. Maybe there's a growth scare going on. What do you think about the attractiveness of growth stocks in 2025?
Well, I don't mind paying premiums for the Nvidias, which are monopolies. If you look at microcomputer, it's trading a single-digit forecasted PE ratio. My average small cap stock is trading only 4.9 times next year's estimated earnings. So there's not a valuation problem. It's mostly around the Magnificent Seven. But when I look at the Magnificent Seven, I only own Nvidia and 499 other stocks. So I haven't invested heavily in the Magnificent Seven outside of Nvidia.
Okay. And then the last thing that I have here for you is the current weakness in Bitcoin a long-term buying opportunity?
Well, obviously it's been legitimized. When you go to pay somebody on Venmo, you can pay them in cash or Bitcoin. And I know a lot of the contractors and the underground economy loves the crypto. But it's I don't recommend crypto, but obviously it's been legitimized. It's not going away. And Trump wants us to be the crypto leader. So it's I just think the pullback's just normal profit taking.
Okay. Real good stuff. Louis, where can people find more of your content? Navellier.com, anywhere else?
Navellier.com is the management company. NavellierGrowth.com is the publisher. Both sites have free newsletters. Navellier.com, it's called Market Mail. And then we have Market 360 on NavellierGrowth.com. So sign up for the free letters, use the free databases. We're here to empower people, and please take advantage of our research.
Okay, awesome. I would definitely second that. I know a lot of people in our community definitely take advantage of your research, and they speak very highly of it. Thank you very much for joining us here this morning. I can't wait to have you back.
Take care.
That is Louis Navellier, founder, chairman of the board, Chief Investment Officer, and Chief Compliance Officer of Navellier and Associates. Really, really good stuff. Thank you, Louis, for joining us here today. All right. So covered a lot of stuff there, folks. And a lot of that stuff is things that we take a look at here every day. How about that? I definitely want to start here with AppLovin, because boy, oh boy, that short report yesterday. I mean, first of all, there were a number of folks here already, just in our group, that absolutely smoked this yesterday. And here we go. Looks like we've got some even more bullishness here today. Looks like we're going to test this 350 level that we identified yesterday. Maybe we can make it all the way back to where we opened from. So you heard it from Louis right there. Loves AppLovin, and then also Nvidia and SMCI. So really, really great stuff there. Would love to hear what you folks think about some of those calls and some of those stocks. Okay, we did have some prints there. Yes, I know we were going to finish off with the interview there first. U.S. GDP quarter over quarter for Q4, 2.3% versus the 2.3% estimate. The prior read there was 3.1%. That's right in line. USA initial jobless claims 242,000 versus the 222,000 estimate. Prior read was 220,000, so we are seeing a little bit of a hot number there. USA core PCE prices Q4 2.7% versus the 2.5% estimate. The prior read was 2.2%, and your durable goods month over month for January 3.1%. versus the 2.0% expected. The prior read was negative 1.8%. So there you go. Let's take a look here. S&P futures looked like they were volatile on that print a little bit, or in the past couple of minutes here. S&P futures still up 0.6 here in the pre-market. So we're still looking at green arrows, and those green arrows are across the board. Still 0.8 higher here on the NASDAQ and 0.2 higher here on the Dow. So, all right. Really good stuff there. We are going to be having Paul Meeks coming up here in about 15 minutes. We'll ask him about the Nvidia earnings and then also about Dell earnings, which we are expecting here tonight. In the meantime, we can take a look at whatever you folks want to take a look at. Farsi Marcy says you want to take a look at Mara. Sure, we were just asking about Bitcoin there. By the way, I do love that answer. To me, that seems like, yes, this actually might be a buying opportunity for Bitcoin. I said yesterday, I actually tweeted it yesterday. It was kind of going back with Scott Redler on Twitter or X. If Bitcoin continues to sell off, especially to that like 72,000 level, I am a buyer there as well. I did add a little bit here, but nothing serious to note. All right, Farsi Marcy, you wanted to take a look at Mara here, and Mara also spiked over 7% in the after hours trading as the CEO assures commitment to made in the USA Bitcoin mining. So here we go. Mara shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results. The company also highlighted it was committed to mining blocks domestically. So obviously, the whole the Trump effect of doing things here in America continuing to proliferate here. We saw Apple kind of do that. Now we're seeing Mara do that here. Mara holding higher here, 14.4% in the pre-market. I wanted to see if there was anything else. Yes, there was. Wainwright. Okay, I wanted to see if there were going to be any other upgrades here. Wainwright, the only one here today, reiterates buy, maintains the $28 price target. That's a double from where we're at here in the 14s. And also in the after hours, we did report some earnings here. So those numbers real quick. EPS 124 beat the 68 cent estimate, big beat there on EPS, and sales of 214.4 million beat the 186.39 million estimate. Nice, healthy beat there. Revenues climb as digital asset value X hash ratio or rate climb, excuse me. And I'm looking for the guidance here. Apologize. Okay. Don't it's yeah, okay, so don't have it there, but wow, what a huge beat, especially on the EPS side. Okay, we take a look at the chart here. Where's the next move for Mara, assuming we continue to open higher here? Let's see where we actually finish, or excuse me, where we actually open. You can see Mara not had the greatest move recently. We did recapture, it looks like so far, this $13 area that we've identified. Definitely seems to be a little bit more that we need to go here. I would imagine we really need to take 15. That would be my first key level here. We're sitting at 14.14, so let's call 15 that first level. And then I'd start looking at some of these moving averages. Your 20-day is pretty much aligned with your 500-day at 16. Then we've got the volume point of control and the 50-day at 18, and we have the 200-day at 19. So it looks like a lot of the round numbers here in the teens for Mara should provide some resistance on the way up. This piece of news, pretty good. We'll see if the market rewards this when it opens. And by the way, S&P futures slipping here a little bit. Let me actually go over to that. Looks like S&P futures trading down here, currently still up 0.3. We'll see if we can hang on to this. Nice little move coming here. Let's see if we got anything else on there. Looks like it's just going on the back of that data print. Okay. Let's see, what else was I missing here? Can we take a look at Tesla? Yes, of course. And I suspect we're going to be taking multiple looks at Tesla here today. We'll probably also have several trades with that here today. Okay. And I got that was it. Okay, so it was the news headline there about the tariffs, right? Is that what you guys are saying here? Trump says that tariffs on March 4th will go into effect as scheduled. Okay, there you go. That is probably why we're slipping here. It's actually not even a terrible reaction. S&P futures now up 0.4 here today. All right, you wanted to take a look at Tesla? Let's do it. Ticker TSLA. Let's figure out exactly where we're going here with Tesla. Let's see. Oh, we got to reset that chart, don't we? All right. So really the question has been, where is the bottom here in Tesla? I'm still looking at the same levels that I gave you yesterday, right? So I do have this fib level here at 283.36. If you want to just call that 283, I won't fight you on it. Then I have the 200-day there at 278 and change. And then remember, we have a gap to fill down to 252 here on Tesla. So if we look at Tesla here in the pre-market, we're obviously up 1.3%. Looks like it's moving here with the tariff comment. I didn't think there was anything else on here that we should take a look at. Those people are in the boat. Yeah, not a whole lot here. All of the news here, it seems to be like this is mostly about Doge. Okay. We will see how that goes. Couple of minutes here, and we'll go to Paul Meeks. But first, I want to bring on 13 and check out how he's doing here. 13, good morning. How are you doing, my man?
Well, I'm doing fine. Having a great morning. Had a lot of fun yesterday. You were just talking about Tesla. I traded that one yesterday. Used TSLS to trade it to the downside. It was posting levels in the happy hour chat. They worked out pretty well. It was identifying a scallop to the downside. So that's what we ended up getting. It worked out pretty well. That was the best trade for me yesterday.
Okay, awesome. So you're choosing to use the TSLX. Did I get that? No, I got the
TSLS.
TSLS. I'm sorry, I misheard you there. Okay, so you're using some of the ETFs to then trade this. Looks like you're using the Bear ETF to trade it. Okay, awesome.
Yeah, that was a good one. But okay. I think there's some good things that we can look at. I don't know how much time we have here because I know you're bringing on another guest. So we can, do whatever you want. Talk some of the things that we saw yesterday with Nvidia or some of the movers. What do you want to do?
Yeah, I actually want to start with, first of all, I want to give you a shout out for the video that you were telling the chat to take a look at yesterday. I think we should pretty much go right into Nvidia. That's going to be the biggest story of the day here. I'd like to get your thoughts. We're going to ask Paul Meeks what he thought about the Nvidia earnings as well. But I did kind of really want to focus here on the RTX 50 series that was the subject of that video. And the reason is because some of the things that we were looking for out of the Nvidia report, we were just determining what's going to happen. We didn't see, right? So we talked with Matt Maley on Monday about, what happens if they have a potential delay or some problem with the Blackwell chip. Well, we didn't see that. In fact, we saw the opposite of that. Jensen was saying how proud he was of the team for handling the mishap early on and that they're back to the regular run rate and all of that stuff. So we got a lot of positive news there out of the AI side. Of course, I think I was saying earlier, the theme seemed to be Blackwell is amazing in this earnings report. I believe the one before was the demand was insane. So it looks like the AI side of this had was pretty rosy. But the other side of this, the actual gaming division, what Nvidia was built on to where it got today, really seems to be struggling. You noted that there was a decline in growth for the sales of those cards yesterday. Did you not?
Yesterday, I was saying that the report showed that the fourth quarter had lower sales figures. I think it was quarter over quarter that was lower. I think down like 22%, and then for the entire year over year it was down 11%. And there's I made a bullet point about this too because the new cards that just came out were released in January last month. So that's not going to be reflected in this quarter that we just had. It's going to be something we'll see in the Q1 results. But that was the point I was making with that, and the reason it was pushing this video is because it really the cards are still made with the same Blackwell architecture. So what you're the issues you're seeing with the graphics cards could potentially show up in some of these AI chips as well. And so far, we haven't really seen that, but they have gone through some production delays, as I think as a result of some of those flaws they had in their Blackwell architecture. But another thing that was standing out to me is that, as you pointed out, the Blackwell demand is amazing, but that's something they've been saying for, it seems like, a year now. So I'd like to start seeing the other side of that equation. Blackwell, I want to, it'd be nice to have Jensen Huang say, Blackwell sales are amazing. Something that actually shows the other side of the demand. It's great that they have the demand. It's a nice problem to have, but if they can't match it with the supply, then what good is that demand? At some point, and here's another concern of mine with this, is that if that demand isn't met, do these folks go somewhere else? And I ask that because I know that Microsoft's looking elsewhere. They don't want it. They don't want to rely on Nvidia, and they're their largest customer. And I think they mentioned that Blackwell delivered about, it's probably more now, but I think back in November they announced they delivered 13,000 Blackwell chips. Should be a lot more by now, but the major recipients were Microsoft and Oracle. And to another extent, OpenAI, but I guess we can just kind of roll that in with Microsoft. So that was another concern of mine, is that the demand isn't being able to be met. And then finally, when they released the numbers, that shows that there's still a continuing slowing in sales growth. This was the smallest beat on earnings expectations since. I believe it was the same quarter for 2023 or 2022. I can't remember which one, but it's been a while. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, right here. It was the Q4 2022.
Well, that's EPS. I was.
Sorry. Yeah, you said that. I apologize.
Sorry. So it's a little bit down there. Yeah.
I actually still think that was it.
Okay.
Yep, it was. So EPS and revenue.
Yeah.
There.
So it's. And apparently, according to what they were saying, that the margins for Blackwell is going to be better. So we'll have to see how that's reflected in their next earnings reports. But it's just, I'm seeing a continuing trend here that the sales growth continues to compress. So just a few things that are concerned. Now, at the same time, they are still the most in-demand AI chip company out there. So we just need to see if where this is going to take the stock price. Is this going to break us out of this channel that you have here, or is it going to continue to bounce around in here? That's what I'm waiting to see.
Yep. Okay. Real good stuff there. And I'm kind of waiting to see the same thing here. Now, just kind of shifting gears a little bit from the Blackwell AI chip, let's talk a little bit about that RTX 50 that was highlighted there in the video. The key takeaway for me, and I definitely want to hear what you think about this, but the key takeaway for me here is that it seems like, first of all, the performance increase might not be as good as build, number one. And number two, can you really rely on this being the best in breed any longer in terms of buying these graphics card chips? And does that give an opening or the ability for AMD or Intel to maybe close the gap? Anything on that you think is important that you want to share with the group?
As your last guest just mentioned about gosh, I had the word on the tip of my tongue there just a second ago. But he was he had mentioned, he had brought up something. I'm sorry, I completely just lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
But it had to do with not just the production, but the reliability. I guess I'm trying to think of the right word. The point I was going to make was they seem to have brought their production back up for Blackwell, but I'm concerned that they're doing it at the cost of quality. And that's the big takeaway I got from that video, is that they were running, they're starting to push out their graphics cards. They're seeing you have these gaming channels that are constantly testing these things, going, hey, this is not up to par with what we usually get out of Nvidia. It was the monopoly thing that he brought up. So Nvidia has that monopoly kind of on the graphics card space right now, with AMD and Intel kind of like, basically fighting each other. They really don't have the terms that, the video cards in terms of maximum performance that Nvidia does. But I think AMD is a closer competitor to Nvidia than Intel is. But anyway, the concern I had was when they were talking about pushing these cards out, and they had them in limited capacity, by the way. And with all the issues that they are running into with the quality of the cards, I'm starting to worry that they did the same thing with the AI series of chips, because that's also Blackwell. So did they just say, you know what, this is good enough, hopefully nobody will notice, slap their seal of approval on it, and send these things out? That's what I'm really worried about, and that's the big takeaway I got from this, is that they're just going to go ahead and push these things out. We can't delay anymore. We've already, had to delay the production of the Blackwell. This is as good as it's going to get. Let's go ahead and just get these things out there. And, if there's a, if 1 out of every 1,000 chips has a huge problem, then I guess that's an acceptable threshold. That's my concern.
Yeah, and fair enough. That makes me wonder if they are going to stay best in breed here. A couple more comments here from the chat. Gaming is pretty, Ryan Milligan here, gaming is pretty stale. Which games are driving demand for the latest hardware? Ryan, this is actually a really good question. I mean, I know, first of all, I'm not the video game player that I once was. And the only game that I mess around with is a game that's not technically even out yet. It's in beta. And no, that's not driving me to want to upgrade my hardware. This is a really good point. I'm not sure what the answer is here. I'm not sure if there is a game that's driving hardware upgrades.
It's as simple as looking at all the different games they're using to test these performance benchmarks. So you're going to see things like, I think, Star Citizen or Black Myth Wukong. I think they've tested it with GTA 5. I can't remember all the names of the games that they're testing these benchmarks against, but to your point about gaming being pretty stale, they haven't really come out with, a game that everybody's just, ranting and raving about, like everybody's got to play this.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think the gaming sector has gone pretty stale. They don't have anything that's very exciting, but that doesn't mean that these games that they're pumping out aren't trying to push the limits of performance, which they still are. So some people are probably playing, games that are a year, 2 years, maybe even as old as 5 years before the pandemic, that are still heavily require big computing power. And if you're going to start playing in 4K versus 1080p, then you do need to have a more powerful system. So even if the content of gaming is not great, which I agree it's not right now, we're still trying to push the boundaries of resolution and frame rate. And that's where the graphics cards are going to come into play. So older games that you used to run on 1080p that you now want to run on 2K or 4K monitors still need that upgrade.
Okay, real good stuff there, 13 on Nvidia. We'll see what that means here for the stock. And then remember, we also have some more stocks to report tonight, right? We have Dell reporting after hours here today. Maybe you'll get a little bit more clarity there on the actual sales that you were looking for. And then we also have SoundHound, obviously much different name here, smaller but connected to Nvidia based on its deal. So we'll see if that has any effect here. By the way, folks, we had just told you that the S&P futures, we're going to have Paul Meeks here pretty soon. We're just telling you that the S&P future is selling off on that tariff headline. Looks like that is already getting bought back up here. So I know it's still the pre-market. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens and the volume really returns here. But so far, that headline being met with some buys. Let me see if I see anything else floating around here on the Twitter streets. Get in there.
I gotta ask real quick. Is this the first quarter that we've seen where the S&P 500 did not just absolutely turn around or rocket to new highs or just absolutely take off on Nvidia earnings? Because it feels like this is the first one.
Yeah, I mean, I would, you know what? I would actually have to overlay the chart there and go back and find out. But I think that you're right. This does feel like the one where we're not really just kind of ripping to new highs. Now we are off these highs by about 4% here, so really not a huge deal. And I don't know. I don't know if we're going to do that. I don't know if we are going to rip to new highs here today.
It just I haven't gone back to look and see if that's been the case, based upon their the price action following Nvidia's earnings when they reported. But this seems like the most muted response to Nvidia earnings that we've seen since they started becoming one of the Mag 7s and having these tens of billions of dollars each quarter being reported.
Okay. All right. Anything else that you want to look at until Paul is ready to join us here today?
Whenever you Paul comes on is ready to talk, that's when I'll step back and go in the back room. But until then, it's like we can talk about whatever you want. It could be tickers from the chat. We can get to the movers afterwards if you like.
Okay. So let us know, folks. What do you want to see here? By the way, Ashai, we were talking about, can AMD really kind of close this gap at all? AMD will announce their new GPU prices in 2 days. I'm actually not sure what to expect in terms of the performance benchmarks for that release. But the pricing angle, that would be the pricing and the availability are going to be keys there.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing too, and that's great that they're going to be announcing their prices in 2 days. I think that could get the market excited about AMD over Nvidia in terms of the graphics card space. But apparently, let's see, they announced it in 2 days. That's going to be March 1st, I believe. So that's when they're expected to launch this new line of graphics cards. I think it's the RX 9000 series, but somebody will have to double check me on that. So AMD is going to be coming out with a new graphics card to compete with the RTX 5000 series that Nvidia has. It's going to happen this coming month, so we'll see how that shakes out. I think AMD and even Intel, to a lesser degree, have a real opportunity here to grab some market share away from Nvidia if they can get their product launch right and their product pricing right. I think they could have a real shot at grabbing that market share.
And the stock, at least for AMD here, stock actually looks not terrible, right? We were significantly off the highs, might be at a pretty decent support level here. RSI kind of flashing, maybe oversold, maybe for a potential bounce, and maybe we can make a move back towards some of these moving averages. After all, we are 40 points away from the 200-day. So if we're able to have any type of positive traction there, maybe the stock for AMD can do pretty well also. All right. Let me see. Is there anything else that you folks want to? Oh, you guys were mentioning app. Jay's asking me, Mullen has news. Are you going all in? Full port, all in on Mullen? Is that the play here today? Jay, I think I will probably avoid that one. Wackadoodle saying AMD cards are good, but take up too much energy. Wonder how the new cards are actually going to do.
I don't know if I would compare that to Nvidia and the way their cards are taking up or sucking so much energy that they're frying power cables and blowing capacitors. So that would be my only pushback on that. I mean, I don't think that's an incorrect statement, but you have the most powerful cards these days pushing as much power as they can in order to achieve that peak performance. So another thing to watch for when an AMD comes out with these cards to see how they perform. I still maintain AMD has a real opportunity here.
Yeah. Okay. Timothy here. Large language models are overrated and not actually very useful, which is a main driving factor currently. Does the CapEx spend lead to write-off spend? That's an interesting question. I don't think that we've really kind of poked through that. I'll say this. I actually do find the large language models. I do find the large language models useful, but not like super useful. Not on par with the spending.
Steve, I don't know that for a fact. I just know that Nvidia's cards are they're absolutely power hungry beasts right now. Their new line. So I don't know if that's going to really make a difference with whatever AMD puts out, because I have a hard time that it's going to be as power hungry as what AMD's currently got out. And that might be their 580 and their 5080 and 5090s. Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff there. Bonjour, Smoke Tuna. Great to see you. Line Atlas app is ripping. I'll tell you what, that was the trade of the day yesterday. The short seller report that leads to longs Good Lord, that has really worked out for us, Lion. I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear that that's working out for you. Smoke Tuna says, "Let me think how to explain what's happening with AI." Would love to get that here from you. And then Palantir, another one that you wanted to mention. Well, remember, this has been one of the most popular stocks, at least in our ecosystem here. Palantir higher by about 3% here on the backs of those Nvidia earnings. By the way, S&P futures still continuing to bounce after that tariff headline. Looks like the market, at least so far, is trying to shake that off here. Here's your Palantir chart. We had actually taken a look at some recent downtrends that we had added here when we were looking at smaller time frames. But Palantir looks like it's trading back up here. We did not actually fill that gap. That's got me a little nervous. I still do think we should fill that gap at some point. We'll see, though. Palantir is trading back up here as well.
We missed that gap fill by 3 cents, I believe. The high,
real close.
Well, I mean, if we're looking at January 31st, I think, okay, so if we're looking at February 3rd, which is where we really should be considering the gap to be filled, it's a little bit lower than that. You're right. You're right. But as far as the price action goes with Palantir here, it was a nice bounce off the 50-day SMA. Going to need to see it get back above 100. Otherwise, I think it does go lower.
Okay. There you go on Palantir. Have you Okay, Jeff Bezos. Of course, love Jeff Bezos coming and joining us here. Have you spoken about Root? It went mental last earnings and maybe set up to do the same this earnings. So here, let's take a look here at Root. He talked about this being mental last time. Look at this. I think it is. I mean, it's plus 20% here.
What was their last earnings? When was it?
Let's consult a Benzinga Pro. Always really handy there. Last earnings here, October 30th, day before Halloween. It looks like this one, at least on a surprise EPS beat, much higher percentage and about the same on the revenue beat. And
I'm just trying to take a look and see what the short interest was at that point, because, this thing was heavily shorted and it still kind of is. But I just want to see if it was higher or lower at that point when they reported. It looks like it was about the same, but it had a lot more days to cover than it does now.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff here. 13. We are going to go to Paul Meeks here.
All right.
We'll get you back here in just a sec. Really appreciate your thoughts on Nvidia. It is time. Let's go ahead and bring on our second guest of the day here on a loaded Thursday. Warm welcome for Paul Meeks. Hello, Paul. Happy Thursday. Thanks again for joining us. How are you doing here today?
I'm great. Special guest. I like that moniker. I'm on Benzinga's YouTube channel every Tuesday with Tech Tune Up with Paul Meeks, but this is a nice opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. But when you join our show, you're absolutely a special guest. I am not going to deny you your special guest title. Come on now. We have been talking about Nvidia all morning here. This was the big event of the entire week. It felt like the entire market was waiting for it. Options pricing in a 10% move and then kind of a muted response, only up here just about 2% here. Let me just ask you right off the top, what did you think of this earnings report?
So I actually was impressed. I was a little bit worried, and I think that was confirmed, about a short time supply glitch with the Blackwell ramp. And I'm not confirmed that the gross margin hit will be completely past us in this quarter, the April quarter. So it could linger a bit. I do think the Trump tariffs could negatively impact that. And it's also not in the guidance. But I thought Jensen Huang yesterday made a very compelling case for a reacceleration of data center revenues and thus total revenues for the rest of the year. But we could have a little bit of anxiety over the next quarter or two. But I think this is a pretty good buying opportunity. And I still think that this is one of the go-to names in tech.
Okay, real good. And this has recently come back into the 200 days. So we were actually talking that day that it tested it. Was this a good buying opportunity? Sure, it looks like you're exactly right there. It has been. I know we spend a lot of time talking about AI here. I'm a kid from the 80s, so I can't help it. I have definitely played my fair share of video games, and that's what I know Nvidia from. So it's near and dear to my heart. My question here for you is, even though the company is still chasing AI, are you worried at all about the RTX kind of fumble, the RTX graphics card series that they're seeing this time around? Does that concern you even a little bit?
No, it really doesn't,
Okay.
because 91% of total revenues are data center. And that's what I am and everybody else is looking for to reaccelerate in the second half of this, which is fiscal 26. And so, yes, you'd always like to see and have the ability to check every single box on the scorecard. But 91% of the revenue data center, that's really, no offense to anyone, all I care about.
Yeah, no, and none taken. Again, company has made it very, very clear that they're chasing AI, and this seems to be the revolution. No one's talking about a video gaming revolution, so totally understand there.
Well, until we get Grand Theft Auto, that'll be a big, big release, and that's one of the reasons why I own Take-Two Interactive.
Yep. There you go. Hey, nice to tie in Take-Two Interactive there. Okay, really good stuff there. All right. The other thing that I wanted to ask you about is, what did you see from the Snow and the Salesforce earnings? I guess we'll start here with Snowflake.
Yeah, Snowflake, I'm encouraged. That stock had really crumbled over the last year after being prior to that like a Wall Street darling. I was impressed with their results, not surprised with the post-quarter pop. And it's one that I'll put on my thinking cap and maybe circle back to it. It's been good to be away from that for a while. As far as CRM, Salesforce.com, I've always been of the belief that these companies have a better chance of being disintermediated by AI than benefit from it. And, you have Mark Benioff, he's half Carnival Barker, the CEO over there at CRM. And so I'm staying away from essentially all these enterprise resource planning software names until that is resolved. Because you think about it, if they have agents, which they do, AI propelled, that's really cool. But what happens to their legacy business? And their legacy business is probably much more profitable than the emerging business. So net, this could be bad for these companies. The only ERP stock that I'm at least a bit interested in is probably Oracle, and not because I think Oracle will do it better than anybody else, but at least with Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, I have a AI infrastructure play that I don't have with the other ERP software companies.
Okay. All right. Really good stuff there. By the way, CRM was just taking a look at that chart here. Pretty clean double top there that's kind of sent us down. We'll see if that continues to move down and find some support there at the 200-day, about 289.5. All right. Last question I have for you, Paul. What do you think about the Dell earnings tonight? What do you think we're going to get out of that? And then what overall is your take on Dell?
I've been away from Dell for a bit. I've been very interested over time and have played all of the server vendors, even including Supermicro before its financial accounting scandal broke. And so I expect Dell to give us a pretty good look and give us a lot of bullishness on the call about AI. However, I'm not so bullish on the core business. And so I think it's going to be a mix, kind of a sagging core legacy business that obscures the results of AI, because AI has to be the bright part of the report tonight. So overall, I'm not in any of those data server companies until I get a clearer picture. The problem is I want pure plays. I don't want plays that are confused by or obstructed by these core legacy businesses, selling smartphones and PCs.
Okay. Really good stuff there. Paul, thanks so much. You folks, as Paul mentioned, be sure to tune in to Tech Tune-Up Tuesdays at 11:30. Paul, we cannot thank you enough for joining us here today. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll catch up with you next time. All right.
See you, brother.
Take care of yourself. That is Paul Meeks, folks, veteran tech analyst and CNBC contributor, and of course, the lead of Tech Tune-Up on Tuesdays at 11:30 in the morning. Be sure to check it out. Paul is awesome. He's been doing this for a long time. Let's go ahead and bring on 13 here. 13. All right. I know, look, we've had a packed morning here today. We haven't gone to the movers. We got 12 minutes left. Do you want to just do that? Or do you have any other, I know that you were mentioning there, the graphics cards, the data centers, that's still the Blackwell architecture. And that's kind of where the overarching concern is still for Nvidia. And you're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I agree. It's not like their largest segment of revenue. It's mostly in the data center and the AI chip space. I was more concerned about their quality control. That's the whole point of the video. So that's what I was concerned about with their when it comes to their graphics card, we're seeing this quality control kind of leave the building, and the concern is that that's going to leach or spill over into quality control for their other chips, their AI chips. So we'll see. But let's look at these movers, shall we?
Yeah, let's do the movers. I did want to highlight one thing here first. Timothy, I appreciate you. I hold a little Dell, so you're holding that going into the print, it sounds like, but don't love how Dell has stripped shareholders of meaningful voting power to basically become king of the non-voting shares. Okay, that is not something I follow, but thanks for sharing there, Tim. I guess let me know what you think of the earnings report here tonight. Does it trade up, down, sideways? What does it do? All right, let's dive into these movers here. I know this is what you folks want to take a look at here right out of the open, so that's exactly what we will do. Ticker XNet is the first one that I have on my list here. Junlei, is it Junli? How would you pronounce the name of this company? Because I feel like I've butchered it twice already.
Let me double check real quick here. Junlei.
Junlei, okay.
I think that's about right. I'm probably saying it wrong too, but that's what my brain would think of how it's pronounced. They're acquiring Hupu for 500 million RB. I mean, is that?
I was going to say, I like how you just kind of went into that yourself. You didn't even set me up to fall flat on my face for that one, so that's appreciated.
Punch, that's how I'm viewing it. 28 million shares in the float. Its ADR depository is JP Morgan. This appears to be a real company, so not just one of these junk pump and dumps that you normally see. Mm-hmm. There's a lot more to this. I think this is this could be a good mover this morning. But I'm seeing that we have ramped up ever since the news broke, just kind of straight up into a high of 524. So I would think that maybe as we approach the open, this might be something we'd want to just have come into maybe closer to the VWAP, or just see how it kind of shakes out here after hitting this pre-market high. I think this, I think this could be a good one to trade. But first, I want to see it cool off a little bit into the open. There are some other ones that look like they could rise out of the open, but this to me might not be one of the ones right out of the gate. Could do it, shortly after, but I think being up here and after this amazing run it's had in the pre-market, it's going to need to cool off a bit. So and the MACD just crossed to the downside. So I think let's watch for that VWAP, which is about 450. And then if we break down underneath that and go lower, I'd be looking at $4 or near the 65 EMA on the 5-minute as the next level of support.
Okay, real good stuff. Here is a visualization of that. Those spots look perfect to me. Just real quickly here, 0.34% of his float shorted with 1 day to cover. Really nothing there in terms of the short interest. Stock has a float of 28 million shares. It's a little bit thicker than the ones we primarily target, but obviously, as you can see here, still likes to move. We'll see what happens when the market actually opens. All right, good stuff there, 13. Next one on the list is going to be a repeat from yesterday. TRNR. This had a pretty big move out of the open. This was halted a few times, right? I didn't play this one yesterday, but I believe this one was halted a few times here. TRNR, Interactive Strength secures repeat 6-figure climber order from a Germany distributor.
Another health and wellness company, huh?
Yeah, the stock popping here. Looks like it's sitting just shy of 2, although it has had some pretty strong pre-market action here today. Volume in the pre-market today about what it was yesterday. We've taken several legs up here, doing a good job staying above the VWAP. Again, quick refresher here on some of this share structure here. 6.7% of the float shorted with 1 day to cover. So although there is some short interest in there, it's fairly negligible. Float here, 1.5 million. Giddy up right in our zone. What do you think here on this one, 13?
This one also pushing up into the open as we approach the bell. But the high from yesterday was 254, and we're not quite there yet. I could see this opening and trying to push up there and then reversing. No guarantee that that's what happens, but it seems like the momentum is leading it higher into the open, and we could end up seeing it go over $2 briefly before it starts to come in and get pulled back down. Still, it seems like it's starting to get a little weak here right now with less than 7 minutes left to go before the bell. Another one that I think we would just either want to wait and let it come back in, or if it is setting up to do that push up to 254, we can maybe nab a little bit of scalp a little bit off the top as it goes over $2. So two different scenarios here with this one as we approach the open. Let's just watch and see what happens when the bell finally hits, and I think we might see a brief push over 2 before it comes back in. That's what I'm expecting with this one.
Okay, good stuff there. I see in the chat is mentioning that LAES is popping here. Indeed, that is. Did we get any fresh news here? Yes, it appears that we did. Right now, Seals Q enters into an exclusive negotiation to acquire 100% of iClaps. No, okay, IC Alps. I almost called that iClaps. That
I heard right. You.
I know, man. Look, I'm not sure what this is here. 100% of IC Alps, financial terms not disclosed here. I'll be honest with you. I'm not familiar with what this is. I would definitely have to read about this. So I'm going to actually have to go through this PR. I won't do it while you guys are watching me. I'll do it when I've got some free time here. But nonetheless, this stock is popping here a little bit. Nothing crazy. As far as the levels go here, definitely want to pay attention to yesterday's intraday high. It looks like I've got that at 337.
We almost just hit that in
336. Pop. Yeah, exactly. And so can we actually get above that is going to be the question, producer.
I think I might just would hold off on this one.
Yeah, let's go through the rest of them. Yeah, we only got 5 minutes here. Let me go through the rest of them here because we do have a couple of others that might be better. ATCH, remember this is one that we traded yesterday. This was the one that we actually did trade in the morning. Nice little rip here. It was nice to get some green on the screen, especially early, that's for sure. We are popping again here in the pre-market on more volume than we saw yesterday in the pre-market, so it'll be interesting to see if we get more volume to flow into this name when the market actually opens. As far as the news here, nothing fresh, so this looks just like a relative volume play from yesterday. Just to remind you, 4.1% of the screwed that up there. Sorry about that. 4.1% of the float shorted and just 1 day to cover, so really nothing there on the short interest with 1.07 million shares in the float. Did you have anything on this one?
No, the ones that I was looking at this morning were NIXX, CPOP, Riley, and Coors.
All right, we're going to do that then real quick here. I know we're running out of time. NIXX, here you go. This actually popped in the after hours yesterday. Nixie board authorized a $10 million share repurchase program, so it looks like we're getting a buyback here. Real quickly, 0.62% of the float shorted, 13.67 million. What do you got, Nix?
I feel like the news that came out earlier this week was better than the share repurchase program. They had they had entered into a $120 million telecommunication services agreement with Mexidia. They anticipate monthly revenue run rate of 25 to 27 million. And the stock really didn't move on those headlines that came out on Monday and Tuesday. But hey, now they're buying back what I think is about a third, close to a third of the value of their company's outstanding shares. So that's what's really moving this up here. So I don't think that the financials that we're getting here reflect the recent business transactions they've been dealing with. So I don't know that I can necessarily lean on what they've got on their balance sheet and their income statement as a reliable gauge of their company's financial strength. But when I look at the technicals and I see that there was a nice reversal candle that happened yesterday and we're gapping up, that's a little bit more interesting. So this could provide some upward. Let me just pull this up here. This could provide some more upward momentum. But when I look at the pre-market chart here, it looks like this is a bit of a bearish pattern, and we're underneath VWAP. So the first thought here for me is that I want to see this hold too, and if it does hold too, then that would be probably the most interesting spot to try and make a trade happen as it as it bounces off the 200 EMA and the $2 level to try and go back up and test VWAP.
Yeah, I think that 2 to 220 area makes a really good potential buy zone there. Okay, good stuff there. NIXX. Let's do RILY here real quick. Martin, I know that you're looking in this one. We've taken a look at B. Riley here plenty of times before. B. Riley here popping up 25% here today. B. Riley Financial shares are trading higher after the company announced a new $160 million senior secured debt facility facility provided by funds managed by Oak Tree Capital Management. All right, so you're getting a nice little pop here in Riley. The question here was, is it too late? One of the things that I'd like to see here is a hold of VWAP, Martin. We're going to go to 13 for his levels here in a sec. Just to answer your question, we'd love to see this maybe hold VWAP. If we come in a little bit more, I'm going to look at that 65 EMA on the 5. Got that at about 646. We'll see if we find some support there. But otherwise, we've seen Riley move before. And if this can hold some strength into the open here today, this could pop above 750. That high print from the pre-market here, 760. So maybe watch that area in there, 750 to 760. Quick look around the horn here, 43.22% of the float shorted. This is one of those 14 days to cover. Possible squeeze action here, definitely. Float 20 million. 13, what do you think?
So you pretty much covered the big point. The short interest is very, very high. So this could squeeze, or it might just come right back in. It is testing VWAP right now. The levels I'm going to want to see hold if we do lose VWAP is I want to see 640 kind of hang in there. If we start to lose that and we get into this consolidation from the we're about to open, we get into this consolidation from the back half of yesterday into the after hours. That's going to be the last demand zone before I think we start to see it go for even further down. And here we are starting to come in. So let's see if we can get a bounce here at the 65 EMA, which I have at about 648 right now.
Okay, TRNR here looks like the first move was up there. ICCT, iCore Connect, this is not breaking down anymore. We'll see if that can get rolling. CPOP, this is one we did not have a chance to cover. This, of course, popped in the after hours yesterday on the announced that it closed an acquisition.
Yep. LAES just broke through yesterday's high, 339 now. It might, no, I don't think it'll halt here. Sorry, that was just mentioning that one. That one is strong out of the gate. TRNR trying to push up to 2.
Timothy saying taking debt shouldn't cause a pop in the share price, but maybe that's just my unpopular opinion. Tim, I would like to join you there. I would amend that and say, filing for bankruptcy shouldn't pop stocks either. That's my unpopular opinion. Sometimes we see 70 to 100% runs on some of those stocks. So I'm with you on some of that. The trading action sometimes is separated from reality, it seems.
All right. So what is moving here? Looks like Core's losing some key levels here, coming down to the after hours consolidation. Riley trying to hold above VWAP. Did get lower initially, but went right back above it. CPOP not popping. XNet seems like that's going to roll over and go lower. It's losing its VWAP. Next support I would be looking at is going to be 430, and then after that to the downside 4.
Core's entering a possible support area. We'll see if that firms up here. By the way, poll results are in on Nvidia. What do you think the next move on Nvidia is? 53% of you said trade higher, 28% of you said consolidate, and only 18% of you said trade lower. Really appreciate you voting in our poll here this morning. Let's see if what we get here out of Nvidia today.
Yeah, TRNR, that's moving up. Still looking for that 254 high from yesterday. didn't quite get there yet. Got as high as 218. It looks like. Yeah, 218. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I didn't see a great setup here on TRNR, but I will keep watching that for a potential setup. ULY, this is a penny stock trying to go into dollar territory here. Looks like urgently shares are trading higher after the company announced entered into a new credit agreement for an asset-based revolving credit facility. Okay. That's popping here. CPOP looks like this is continuing to move lower. Maybe the best trade was yesterday on that one. XNet, this was another one of our movers here, right down to the VWAP. Let's see if it holds here on XNet. This actually might be a spot here.
Yeah, I think it was a 430 I said, and then 4 is the levels I like. We almost got to 430. Got as low as 438.
Izzy mentioning Lunar News here. Didn't we have this?
They had a launch yesterday.
The launch, how'd that go?
I mean, I wasn't able to watch it, unfortunately, but it's as far as I understand, it's successfully launched and it's on its way to the moon.
Yep.
And I think this is
successfully commissioned. It's en route. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, this isn't one I'd want to pick up right now. I mentioned how bearish the daily chart looked yesterday, so I would anticipate more downside until we get to the moon and it actually lands. If it lands and doesn't tip over, that could be a bullish scenario for Lunar. I mean, I'm just saying that the stock ran up, and then as soon as it tipped over, it kind of got a rug pull on it. So. A change in that result would be welcome news for the investors. But this head and shoulders on the daily chart, this is something I wouldn't want to really buy here. I feel like this is something that's going to get sold into this launch. So I would wait until they get closer or actually land on the moon, which is supposed to be March 6th or 7th.
Okay, good stuff there on Lunar. Keep rolling through here. CPOP, Mara. Okay, Mara taking that next leg higher right out of the pre-market there. Nice move here on Mara. Let me see how some of the other Bitcoin stocks are doing. I know MicroStrategy has recently been blasted. MicroStrategy higher here today. How's Coinbase doing? Coinbase higher by 3%. Let me take a quick look at Bitcoin here real quick. Bitcoin up here, 86K. So, all right, we'll see on Bitcoin. Apple popping out of the gate.
Our alpha, it's landing on the moon. That's the important part, especially for a Lunar. There's lots of stuff goes to the moon.
Is Nvidia one of them? Nope. Nvidia, well, this was up 2.3% here, was unable to get above the 136 area. Now it looks like we're pulling back. Jonah saying, yeah, Nvidia went boom, lol, rip my calls. Anyone really that bought options yesterday really got fleeced on that. Option sellers were for the print here. So, I mean, we got tariffs. Tariffs are back. Nvidia was kind of a nothing burger. Happy Thursday, folks. Good Thursday morning, Beach Bum. Nice to see you. Kevin mentioning Serve. Kevin, good morning. Nice to see you again as well. Serve here. This actually is trading higher. Oops. Sorry about that. Well, I would watch for a move above 10. Serve's been poppy before, and we've also seen that ticker RR, Rich Tech Robotics, sometimes moves with Serve. This one trying to hold on to 2 at the moment. I don't see a trade setup in either of those at the moment. NIXX getting mentioned.
Yep.
Did move through the VWAP there. Okay.
Yeah, still putting in some not so great looking upper shadows. We want to see this the candle from 5 minutes ago get taken out. We actually want to see 267 get taken out. That's been where the price has topped out in the pre-market twice, according to my chart here. So that's where I'm looking for. Let's see if we can even get beyond 267.
Stock market jobber, looks like the 18% was a good pick. Nice job to the 18%. It is early. We'll see where we finish up, but so far it looks like that is winning the day here on Nvidia. Here's Riley, by the way. So we've taken a look at B Riley here earlier. This is like a little bit of a dip to the yesterday's intraday high. Looks like we're trying our best to bounce here. Weifu is moving. That was one from yesterday. Didn't have that one on the list here today. Let's take a look. Indeed, nice little pop out of the open here. Okay.
Riley went back up to its VWAP, trying to get through it.
I'll be honest. I don't think I want to trade this one here today.
It hasn't been the greatest one, has it?
It has not, and it's actually punished me a couple of times that I've tried to take a swing at it.
TRNR, that would look like it was going to get going, but now it has a matching red candle to its green one out of the open here. It's got to hold this. I would say it's got to hold this 180 level. 180 looks like it's about the level. 180, 185. If we can continue to hold above that, we might see it turn around, but currently beneath VWAP right now, at least my VWAP.
NTNX, Nutanix. This is trading higher following earnings yesterday. This looks like a little bit of profit taking. Might have a move back towards the 80 handle if you can take out the VWAP here at 77.25. That's Nutanix, ticker NTNX.
Okay, so now Riley is up to this consolidation area from the pre-market. You can see at about 7:15, there's a large wall of sellers. So that's currently the level to get past. Once it blows through that, then you have 761 as the high. Could just go wild, especially with how heavily shorted this is.
That's right. This is the one with the huge short interest. App, by the way. Okay, so this was, I was going to say, this is continuing here in the pre-market pullback to 336. Really, shout out to our chat who was just saying, no, we're buying this. Multiple big trades here for our chatters yesterday. Really good stuff. Kevin mentioning JTAI. So we're seeing some of the other AI plays. I'll tell you what, these smaller AI plays have absolutely represented a better trading opportunity than a big mama Nvidia itself. That's for sure. And by the way, I'm seeing mixed options come across the wire here on Nvidia. A nice, healthy mixture of puts and calls on the aggressive side. Let me see. Nvidia continuing to sell off here. All right. I guess I shouldn't really cheerlead it, but I do want to see this crack if this is going to be the thing that brings the market in.
This would be the kind of event that would be great for sellers. You know, everybody's super bullish on it. Think, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy more Nvidia. It's going to go up. And the sellers are happy to oblige selling. All right. So LAES heading lower, TRNR still sideways. Cores hasn't recovered above VWAP yet. Riley, this one interestingly looks the strongest so far, but let's make sure it holds above VWAP. I still want to see that move over 715. Might get it here.
AMST getting shouted by the chat. Let me take a look at that. Sorry to interrupt you.
No worries.
That is a nice little pop here on volume. And actually, this just waited for the regular session to open. Did we have anything that's driving this here? Most recent news was from Tuesday.
I got to say, this is going to be one of those days where make sure you have your stop set because it seems like there's not a lot of strength in these smaller mover names this morning.
No, it doesn't. And the other thing is like, I'm not even, I kind of want to just wait for some of this uncertainty here to shake out. I feel like we expected some fireworks with Nvidia. We didn't really get it. And traders might be kind of searching for the next thing here to take advantage of.
TRNR just had a breakout. Looking for that high from yesterday of 254. Now it's going right back in. Don't forget, look my notes real quick because I have the date written down. Nvidia has Quantum Day on March 20th. So potential catalyst there.
Yeah, and we talked about some of the quantum names on the back of that Quantum Day. Someone else mentioned that here earlier today. These quantum names, what do you guys think about this? I gotta just putting it out there. I gotta think that the next move here is down. Maybe that Quantum Day does save it. I kind of feel like the next move here is down.
It's nearly a month away. There's so much that could happen to the market in between that time. I think we also get some other earnings reports that may affect that sentiment as well. I would have to double check that, but I feel like that's going to be a significant mover of the market when that date, or at least if there's any comments that come out of that from Jensen.
Yeah.
I think that's something we should definitely have on our radar.
Okay. Nvidia here moving to the lows. Seeing some more puts show up here on the unusual option ticker. Good morning, Amanda. Amanda says, I feel like we roll over here soon. I'm already done for the day. It actually does feel like that. By the way, SPY is actually starting a move down here. NASDAQ leading the way. So real quickly here, NASDAQ still up by 0.2, but has really fallen from the highs more than any other index. S&P still up by 0.2 as well. But these are both moving to the lows here. Watch that pre-market low here on SPY. They got that at 595.
You know, what's interesting is that today in the SPY, it was the first day since we made new all-time highs, where we did not open lower. But we are starting to put in a bearish, we're still putting in a bearish formation on the SPY daily. Still not able to get above that 50-day SMA. That 50-day SMA has been a real pain for the SPY, and that we've already had 3 closes beneath it, and we're on the 4th day now. So if we get more downside, I don't think from a technical standpoint, this would be too shocking.
Some of these smaller names completely rolling over here. ATCH, the ex-girlfriend from yesterday, toast. Coors gave back all of its move here this morning. We're back to where it was consolidating yesterday in the after hours. Nutanix hasn't bounced yet. Mara came all the way back in from its from the opening move higher. How's Riley holding up here? Riley's still up near those highs. That actually had the only one that's really performing here so far looks to be TRNR.
Yeah, that's about it. And I still think that we might have a lot of resistance at that high from yesterday. We still haven't hit that yet. 254. Yeah, everything else doesn't look great. B Riley now putting in a bunch of upper shadows. That might indicate that we go lower here in B Riley. Looking for support at 650. If we lose that, we could go as low as, well, we might see better support at 6 or just under 6. But the strongest support seems to kick in about 580. TRNR still trying to push up there, has not re-tapped the 239 session high. Looks like XNet trying to turn around now. All right, Parker Singer Swim mentioning Apple. I'll take a look at that, and then I'll take a look at Tesla because I'm kind of curious to see what that ended up doing.
Okay. Sorry, I had to finish up something there for work. We can do that. Apple first.
Yeah, so Apple lost the 50-day SMA yesterday, closed beneath it, trying to recapture it today. It's going to be interesting to see how that ends up, closing today. We still have a whole day ahead of us for Apple to do Apple things. So we'll see how that ends up happening. And let's take a look at Tesla now. Tesla kind of flat right now. Not too far away from where we opened. Looks like we had a brief pop up to try and go back towards 300. Didn't have success there. Still looks like we could end up going lower. And I think yesterday I was mentioning 380 as a potential bottoming area, that 375 to 380 area. And the reason why I like that is because when you look at November 6th, that's the gap up, that the start of the gap to where we ended up with all this, this bullish run that we had throughout the end of 2024. I'd feel like if the bulls want to step in and try to prevent Tesla from going lower, it has to hold that area above the gap fill. Because if it loses that, it's going to gap fill, in my opinion. I think it's going to gap fill there, and if it continues to go lower, there's another gap to be filled that could take this all the way down to 220. So if you're bullish on Tesla, I don't think you'd want to see these gaps to fill. And you might see a lot more, more of those buyers step in as it approaches a 200-day SMA between 275 and 280.
Yeah, I'd actually like to see this really kind of hold its 200 and then maybe turn around and make a stab at taking this trend out for some more bullish action. That's what I'd be looking at here in Tesla. Not saying we're going to get that, but that's what I'd be looking for. Okay, let me go back to the scanner. Let's see what is moving around here.
Not a lot.
No, not a lot. And I'll tell you what, Nvidia still at the lows here. I haven't seen traders really take one side of this trade. It seems like they're trying to hit both here. Lots of puts, lots of calls being bought here. A market is trying to bounce. SPY NASDAQ trying to bounce here. Dow's actually positive. So Dow's doing the best here.
It could be more of that rotation into value we've been talking about.
Yeah,
too.
sure. That's what I'm thinking.
So might just end up with more market rotation, maybe some rotation out of Nvidia into some of the other Mag 7s or into some of the value names. And yeah, Nvidia, great dividend, by the way, 1 cent a share. Love it.
You like that? All right, I'm seeing that. I don't really see anything. Coors has really been unable to firm up here. Let me see if there's anything going on in the Twitter streets.
Yeah, Izzy, you're right about Disney. This is looks like it's been turning up. It might be able to go higher. Let's see here, and I know that this is not why we're trading this right now, but I really do believe that the announcement of Kathleen Kennedy's departure could be very, very good for the Disney stock, because she's under her tenure, she's pretty much destroyed the Lucasfilm brand, resulting in billions lost over the decade she's been doing this. So with her replacement, if the replacement is good, and they make the changes that need to be made to all the different franchises under the Lucasfilm umbrella, that could mean a lot more future revenue for Walt Disney Company in terms of merchandise and film revenue, because people will actually want to and show revenue. People will actually want to see these things again. They want to go back to the what's sorry?
Well, I was going to say, what are you looking for in a replacement here? Because I'm with you on that, and if you can repair Lucasfilm and really generate more cash from that, that's great. What were you looking for in a replacement?
Well, somebody who's not going to embrace, the whole woke and DEI aspect of, what some businesses are doing right now. I think if they throw that out and just, stick with people that are, that not only respect, the Star Wars and Lucasfilm franchises, but are also, to a degree, fans of the product. They want to see it succeed. They want to tell new stories that we used to like to be told. With the Star Wars and Indiana Jones. I know that Harrison Ford's aging, but if they can get the right replacement for that, that could be a great franchise, and maybe even with Willow too. But the big thing is going to be Star Wars and how that gets handled, and the person that is going to replace her has to be basically the polar opposite. I would say.
Okay. That's real interesting. I mean, one of the reasons I ask is because when I was a kid, I obviously loved Star Wars, man. I loved the original movies. I even liked when I went to go see, episode 1 through 3 in the theater. I didn't really like Phantom Menace as much as the original or any of those, but they were still entertaining to me. The one thing I loved, the amount of books that exist in the Star Wars universe is tremendous. And I just feel like there's so much low-hanging fruit that they can get from some of those if they can pull those movies off. But so you make a really good point there about Disney. We'll see what ends up happening there. No position for me.
She basically took the entire expanded universe of all the books and everything you're talking, and she said, no, let's just throw that all out. We're going to start creating our own stuff. And I was just like, that's the best way to piss fans off. So
that's not a good move here.
Yeah, so they have not been hitting any good notes. I'll give them Rogue One. That was a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I like that one too.
But that's basically the only thing that really came out of it. I mean, The Mandalorian started off great, but it ended up being crap. So I'm just glad that she's gone. Hopefully they replace her with somebody that's better, and including like a lot of the actors and writers. I know that somebody just mentioned that as well. They've got a really clean house on the Lucasfilm side, and this might be the start of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Thrawn movies would be great. That'd be pretty cool. He's a very interesting character, actually.
I'm starting to see a lot of the Nvidia short ETFs pop up on here. On the scanner. I wonder if we get any type of acceleration to the downside here. Nvidia did lose 130. Really, that 127.5 is the next area of note.
Oh, buddy. Yeah, mine moved. There is no argument there. Fairchild, are you saying Andor was good or not? Now, I'll say that Andor wasn't bad. It felt a little boring to me. And that might not be the best opinion on it because I had a certain expectation of it, but I won't say it was bad. It just wasn't great in my opinion.
Snow pulling back here after its earnings, although it looks like it's trying to hold here at the 200 EMA on the 5. Let's see if Snow can make a move back up here, holding 180 so far.
None of those movers that maybe Nix might be trying to turn around. It is dancing with its 200 EMA. That might try to push back up, but it's going to need better volume than this. XNet, that thing just got slapped. C-Pop, not popping. B. Riley, still headed lower. I don't think those upper shadows were lying. It looks like this is going to try to come in, getting support from the 65 EMA, but the longer it lingers down there and continues to test that EMA, the more likely it is it will fall through it.
Now also starting to see some more firming on the call side here for Nvidia. So this move down into the 128 handle, I'm actually seeing a lot more calls getting bought into this move. None of these are particularly huge, but they are all pretty aggressive. Tesla calls getting bought into the move right now as well. Tesla right at the after hours lows here.
Okay.
IONQ's getting smacked. Remember, they reported earnings last night. Oops, what happened here?
No pop, yeah. No pop and
C-Pop is no pop.
No pop. Well, TRNR couldn't even get up to that 254 level. This thing only reached 239 and came right back in. So not necessarily out of the realm of expectation for where this was going to go, but thought we might end up seeing a little bit of a closer print to that high from yesterday.
Eat it. Another one of those cheap gene editors here moving out of the gate. I'll tell you what, that move up to just shy of 350 here, that was monster. This all started on the back of the CRISPR upgrade. Looks like this is still going here. Eat it getting some more action here today. Riley will not break down so far, holding that 65 EMA on the 5, really flirting with its VWAP here. But I think that if you get any type of volume expansion off the current level that you have here, you might have another run at some of these highs. What was, let me get that exact number here, 735 and then 750, 60 area would be the next upside area there. Someone had asked about Root earlier. Root trading higher after reporting earnings last night. This thing's been just wild. We've been watching this one for what feels like a while now, a year, maybe even more than that. Root here, another pop out of the open, although it gave it back.
Oh, I think you can look at a daily chart and see the exact day where Jay Rice started talking about it, or the Crow, whichever one of those distinguished gentlemen were trading this.
Distinguished gentlemen. I think actually both of them were on that.
I mean, just look at the middle of February. That's when this thing started to take off, and here we are a year later. You want to measure? You want to measure where we are from a year ago when we were at 8? Oh man, this thing went up 1,000, almost 1,350% from when we started seeing this move last year.
All I remember about this last year was when we first started watching this move. This thing went up every day. Every single day. It felt like this was February to April. For 2 months, this thing seemed to go up every single day. Remember, this is also connected to Carvana.
Yeah, it actually did go up every day for about half a month.
Yeah,
before it ended up getting a first red day in it. B. Riley might actually be trying to push up higher here, swimming away from the 65 EMA that it was testing frequently, moving through VWAP. Now coming up to the consolidation.
That's what we wanted. Yep. And we want this volume to continue to expand. That will be a key watch here for me. So far, so good on that.
Yep. Still going. Really coming up, really starting to expand now, but just be careful. We're still approaching that 730 area where we've been seeing resistance.
And wicking right there off of that.
Yeah, right to that resistance area.
Got the nice big volume stick that we were looking for here, but wicked right off that top area.
It doesn't seem like it's quite done yet. I wouldn't say it's done until we start
Yeah.
seeing it close back down beneath VWAP and maybe even lose that 65 EMA, which is down near 650.
Right now, trying to back test and hold 7 here. That area actually looks pretty good. Volume looks pretty good here. We want to see this continue. I think we can pop above 720. That puts 750 in our sights if we can do that.
HD Hoods is mentioning MLGO. That's been moving pretty well this week, and I think last week as well. What you gonna do, B. Riley?
Still watching B. Riley on my other screen, but here is MLGO curling off that. I'm going to go back to B. Riley here because I can't even believe I want to say this, but this actually looks like the best possible setup right now. Let me know if you guys got anything better out there. I'll take a look here at AMST, OKLO, and app here in a second. Let's see what happens here with B. Riley. 720 the spot.
Again, stops. Make sure you have them in place for companies like this.
Yep.
All these movers are really weak today, so we don't want to get the rug pulled out from underneath us. Make sure you are protecting yourself. Cores slapped. CPOP still hasn't recovered, but it seems like it might be trying to find a bottom. XNet lost a 65 EMA. This one probably ends up going lower. Nix didn't have a chance in hell.
It got nixed. Someone made that joke earlier.
Yeah, I tried everything that I had not to make that joke. So thank you for doing it for me.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for, 13. Here is your AMST, by the way. Wild action here. This has all been about the volume. By the way, Riley pulled off those highs there, but did a really good job holding 7 so far. Volume still looking good here, and that curling back up towards that 720 spot. AMST right beneath its VWAP. This is one of the things I'd like to see get taken out and maybe a build above to go higher here on AMST. What was the other stocks? AMST, OKLO, how are we doing on that? Those are coming back in.
I've got levels for AMST. I must have traded this one before too.
Yeah, we definitely did. By the way, with OKLO here, green to red move here. Nice little pullback. I got to think that this trend line down here at about $31 is going to be one of your next spots to firm up here. If it holds it, I guess we could break back into the channel there.
For levels for AMST, should we recapture VWAP, we'd be looking at 420, 475, and then 540 as upside targets. I know I mentioned 420. Is Voodoo showing up now?
Wouldn't be Voodoo. It would be Wisdom.
Or Wisdom. Geez, man,
I believe Voodoo is a retired police officer. It's kind of funny. AMST.
All the more reason
to the VWAP here.
So yeah, AMST. That's trying to recapture VWAP right now. If it does, let's see if we get 420. Let's see, what else were you mentioning? By
the way, market. Sorry to interrupt you here. Market is really pulling here. Market is really pulling here. S&P futures, which were green all morning, now red, down 0.4 here. This is still pounding the lows here. So huge reversal. NASDAQ also at the lows. Big move down in progress right now.
I apologize to the person. I can't remember if which one of you said that, but it seems like, Palantir may end up filling that gap that we mentioned. Now, we were targeting 85 since that seemed to be kind of like the nice, even handle, the psych level to go with. But the actual gap does fill at 84.25. Look at that with AMST, right to 420. Right to 420.
There you go. That was the third time.
420.
We should see Wisdom here any second. By the way, also got another data print there. USA pending home sales month over month for January, minus 4.6% versus the 9/10 estimate. The prior read was minus 4.1. So this continuing to get worse here. Pending home sales index for January, 70.6 versus 74 prior. If Hustle and Bustle is out there, what do you make of this print? I don't think I saw him here today. Any of you real estate folks out there, let me know what you think of this home sales print here. Market continuing to pull. And it's all of it, right? It's Dow, it's NASDAQ, it's SPY. NASDAQ leading the way down. Definitely have another tech flush here. Looks like they were just kind of waiting for the Nvidia earnings to get out of the way.
Take a look at something, because that's the second month in a row where pending home sales was, showed a pretty big negative read, minus 4%, 4.1% prior. Last month, and now this month 4.6. Homes aren't being sold probably because nobody can afford them.
Yeah. Here's a look at your heat map here today. Lots of red across the board here. Financials, healthcare, consumer staples, and energy look to be your strongest sectors here today. I guess you could throw industrials in there, although Cat is struggling a little bit here today as well. Nvidia leading the way down here, minus 4% after those earnings, after being up 2.3% prior.
AMS.
Riley, by the way, sorry. Riley stopped right at that spot that we were talking about. 13 to your call there. Have your stops ready. We pulled all the way back down through the VWAP here.
Yeah, and AMST still trying to get above 420. This thing just brought a huge bid at 410. That might help lift it up. So watch for a break of 420. And if it gets to 475, that'd be the next area where you could, cut some of your position or take some profit or do whatever you want. Don't let me tell you how to trade, but looks like 475 would be the next target for me if we have a breakout over 420.
Okay, App. Wow, getting smoked here. App just straight down out of the open. Worth noting that this is still 20 points higher. 20 points higher than some of those first buys after that short report that we got from yesterday. So still maintaining higher here despite the pull.
So home inventories are getting higher. Okay, because that's been a problem for the past couple of years. Those inventories are too low, and it was driving up the home prices. So we actually have inventories starting to come up. That means that affordability might be a thing in the future here with real estate.
Lion said, I do real estate, Ryan. It's getting very weak. You got to wait longer to sell a house and the prices are getting lower. You know, that, Lion, is concerning going into the best home selling season of the year, right? That's the March to June. Help me out there. I feel like this is not the right time for that to be happening.
Looks like LAES is trying to turn around. Still has a ways to go to get back up to its VWAP, but it's getting a little bit of support from this pre-market consolidation. So if it gets back above, let's say 320, we might see some better upside.
Market trying to bounce here. We'll see if it's strong enough to do that.
Core is also trying to turn around. Just be careful with some of these movers. They are not looking great today, and having our stops is ready to go and tightening them up as the stock price rises has so far been the best way to make sure you put some money in your pocket today. So these things just pull or are pulling out of nowhere. All right. How's Bitcoin looking now? What did we get down?
Oh, that's actually a good question here. I screwed up my charts again. I keep clicking the wrong thing. Bitcoin at the low. So participating with the tech flush here to the downside on Bitcoin. Still
haven't hit the lows from yesterday. That was just above 82,000, 82,001. This last 5-minute candle that we had here was pretty nice reversal. So let's see if we get anything out of that. Has to start closing above 85,000 if we're going to see any more upside. That's a big level here. We've seen resistance from before it turned into support late yesterday.
Alibaba looks like that's getting hit here on some of the China tariff news. Okay. These Chinese stocks have been on a huge run here. It looks like we're taking a little bit of a break. It's only down 1.6%.
So Lion was saying the only hope is the Fed is going to come in and cut rate aggressively to help the market. So we had a discussion about
yes, we did.
Implications that could potentially have for the market, because there's, recall what happened with the yen carry trade. We saw probably the biggest sell-off of 2024 when that whole incident unwound. And what happened is a lot of both central banks kind of stepped in and said, okay, well, and this is more on the U.S. side. They said, let's allow this to unwind systematically so there aren't volatile shocks to the market. And that's what was agreed upon for the time being. Now, if we get something that's where the Fed's going to cut rates aggressively and the Bank of Japan is going to continue to raise rates aggressively, you might, and there might be fewer safeguards in the way for a systematic unwind of the yen carry trade. We could see a lot more volatility as a result of that. So aggressive rate cuts with the Bank of Japan's aggressive rate hikes might be, well, I say might as if it might not happen, but it's going to be a very volatile situation for the markets.
All right, sold some more of those TZA calls that we took from Matt Maley. So that trade is working, holding on to a trailer there. See if we get some more.
Some of these are starting to try and come back, but always got to have that asterisk there to keep a little bit of your head on the swivel.
AMST, this actually, Smoke Tuna, I think you were talking about this. Yeah, Smoke Tuna, AMST might work. I tend to agree with them here. Let's see if we can get above that 420 area. And if we pull back, maybe we can hold 370. Riley has now lost the VWAP. So that upside area there was really good warning. We were unable to get through that. Riley kind of backing off that spot. NIXX here also back into the gap, if you will, from yesterday's price. We lost the after hours low that supported it yesterday. This one not looking great either. NTLA, by the way, this is another one of those gene editors that ran with Eat It on the back of the CRISPR upgrade. Looks like that's still having a nice day here today. CA4 has been locking in profit on the SPY long. So what do we think? We think this is a buyable dip here. I mean, let me bring up the SPY chart. We'll take a look at it together. I don't need to look at my chart that's off the screen here. SPY dip right down here to yesterday's intraday lows. We're kind of hanging around by the lows from the day before. What do you think? If SPY can hold this, maybe firm up here a little bit, do you think we've got a long side trade the rest of the day? Market breadth here across the board red. SPY, Dow, Qs, Russell, and Nice, all red.
Let me see here. And by the way, Carmen was talking about the Fed being in a pickle, and I absolutely agree with that. They
have been for a while. That we've been very clear on that.
I don't think we'll see rate cuts in this first half of the year. If we are going to see rate cuts at all this year, it's going to come in the back half. Probably closer to September is when I would expect them to start doing that. But that's just a guess at this point. My prediction is that we don't see rate cuts for the first half of the year.
Yeah, I would say, I agree with you. I think the earliest is probably that September.
Seems like
we'll see if we get it.
Yeah, I just don't think there'll be any kind of rate changes before June or July.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that's a pretty good call.
There'd have to be some kind of an emergency situation, like COVID. That would be the only thing that could really change. Looks like SPY is, they just put in a reversal candle in the 5-minute chart. A little bit of a hammer there. So let's see if it can get back above or hold above this previous all-time high of 591.93 and get back up into the consolidation channel we identified. AMST.
And it's still holding those lows from the last 2 days. Here, let me put AMST up on the screen here real quick.
Yeah, AMST still tried to get to 420. Only printed it once. Hasn't been back up there since. Now losing VWAP. This is going to have to show some support at about 350, 355. Otherwise, I think this goes much lower.
VIX, by the way, popped to 20 and kind of stopped there. So the VIX also not able to take out yesterday's intraday high. The Bitcoin sell-off that we talked about, that's taken a pause here. Bitcoin also up off the lows. So we'll see if any of this stuff can turn around here. That moving just with you're absolutely right. The SPY, NASDAQ, and Dow all doing the same thing right here.
Yeah, AMST just went down to that level, trying to rebound. It's going to have to do that. Otherwise, lower it goes, I think. Wiss mentioning MLGO. I don't think I
Eat It. More new highs here. Eat It. Here's your MLGO move. Watch for yesterday's intraday high here. About $5 seems to be the level.
Yeah,
Riley might have bottomed. We'll see here. Sorry, 13.
No worries. Yeah, that just not exactly 5. Maybe you could even probably consider it, but that area just beyond 5 is where we were seeing a lot of these the price reversals at MLGO yesterday. So once this breaks over 5, I don't know how much of a run it's going to go on, but it seems like that's where a lot of the selling occurs is on a breakout of 5. You just look at yesterday's price action, even in the pre-market. That's kind of what these candlesticks are telling me, that this selling starts to happen as soon as it breaks over 5. So. Izzy is asking for levels on Google.
You want to do that real quick?
Yeah, give me a tick and I'll pull some up for you.
Okay, let me know. I'll flip over to my bigger chart and I'll try and show them at the same time as you. We'll keep taking a look at some of these movers here. Tell you what, none of these have looked great here to me today. Congrats to anyone that traded AMST. That was actually a pretty decent move, but it was followed by a nasty pull. Didn't trade that one at all. Nutanix. So this one actually, maybe we're going to come back up towards that 80 handle. We did really want to see that recapture the VWAP, and it's done that. See if the volume stays here, stays with this.
What's interesting about Google is that it went right down.
Let me go to it.
Right down to 169 and bounce. Now, what's interesting about this level is that this is a level I was looking at for as a neckline from when we were putting in a head and shoulders, and that formation takes place from late July to late October. You can see the head. There you go. There's a left shoulder there.
Yep.
And the next dip lower, that's the head. So, and then we ended up, reversing off that. So I'd say that was a pretty strong head and shoulders pattern. We come down to the neckline and we're using that as support. Should we lose that?
Well, what number do you have at that neckline?
169.
169. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Should we lose 169? There is a trend line that we can also draw on, and I'm sure you can see it from it's a trend line that's indicating this uptrend that we're in here off these lows. So if you take the low from March of 2024 and draw it to the low of September of 2024, that's the trend line I'm referring to. That could be the next area where we see some support if we lose 169.
Okay, boy, that TZA call sale was a good one. We have plummeted from that as the market continues to bounce here, kind of all over the place.
Core is back up to its VWAP. This might have some strength in it, but I am going to take this with some caution. MLGO absolutely blasting off now through 5. Let's see if this holds or if it comes right back in. This is where the sellers start coming in.
This is above yesterday's intraday high, stopping right near Tuesday's intraday high. Boom is right. Nice job on that one, Wiss.
Oh, the RSI on Google for the daily is at 29, just above 29. So there's potential for that 169 area to be a good reversal spot based on how low how oversold this is. I don't know that we're going to necessarily come back up and recapture the 200-day SMA. And if we start to trade up that way, I don't think that we're going to recapture it today. Maybe tomorrow if we go back up in that trend, but that's going to be the big resistance area from here. If we get that reversal, we start getting back up into the 170s. At 200-day SMA is going to be a big resistance level to get over. We have to close over that if we're going to see more upside.
Red Robin doing all right here today. Red Robin Gourmet Burgers. This trading higher by almost 30% here today. CL King upgraded its rating on the stock from neutral to buy, and they reported earnings last night.
AMST, after rebounding off that level I pointed out, it's back up to testing its VWAP. Make sure you raise your stops, folks, because this could just come right back down on us.
Riley approaching its VWAP here at 690. We'll see if Riley can get through that. Ticker RILY. Right there at VWAP. My VWAP slightly different in my broker than it is here on TradingView.
All right, so MLGO.
Sorry, that market bounce was pretty strong here. We've actually retraced 50% of that down move.
Yeah, MLGO kicking the shorts to the curb, not coming back in after breaching 5. So let's see where this goes here.
That, by the way, just as an aside, that was my favorite part of the Louis Navellier interview earlier, telling he loves to fight the short sellers in the stocks that he likes. I was hoping we were going to get some hooting and hollering from the chat on that. That was my favorite part.
We should have asked him about B. Riley. That thing is heavily shorted.
I was going to ask him about serious stocks, not necessarily B. Riley. Crip Biscuit. Oh,
Red Robin, yum. Yep.
I'm glad you did it because I wasn't going to. That's for sure.
Don't worry, I'll throw my my dignity out there.
Throw the baby out with the bathwater, huh? JPM, right at the hod here. We talked about financials being. Let's actually take another quick look here at the. Oops, clicked on the wrong one here. This is actually my Momo scanner. Not a whole lot on there. KDP. Not a whole lot on there. Damn. Anyway, let me go back to that market overview. Let's take a quick look at the heat map, see if anything changed around here. Nope. Financials, you're easily your best sector here today. I would say that's followed by industrials and then healthcare and energy. Financials really doing it here. Visa, your top gainer in that. Visa actually outperforming JP Morgan slightly here. Good stuff there, Chris. Go to where the puck's at.
With MLGO, if we start trading over 550 and are able to have some candles close above that, I could see a scenario where this goes up to 650. So here we are, just broke through 550. So the next upside target I'd have would be 650 at this point. In MLGO 485, crazy levels. Oh, you want crazy levels? So here's the next three levels I've got from here: 650, 825, and 960. Have fun.
650, 825, and 950. So I have similar ones: 689, 850. What was the one that you had above that? Let me go toss that here on the chart.
960.
960. Thank you.
Too late to enter MLGO. I wouldn't be chasing it right now.
Yeah, I'd stay away from chasing, boss.
I'd wait for for it to come back in, set up to for its next move, if it even is going to set up for its next move. But there's a really elevated level of risk here if you're trying to buy it after it's had these big moves into the highs of the day. You don't want to be buying into the highs.
Yeah, big moves like this, generally speaking, there's just no way I'm going to say that this is a buy. I will say when the market is cooperative enough, especially with some of these smaller names, playing high of day breaks can actually be a pretty profitable strategy. But to be quite honest with you, I do not feel comfortable with that strategy and haven't for a while. So when you see a move like this, best to wait for this to set up again. Maybe this does pull back to the 5 level, though. We'll see. Is Google a good buy? Here's the thing on Google. I do like this for the AI angle. I do like Google, just as a stock in general. We are kind of approaching a pretty substantial support level as well as some oversold conditions. So maybe for a trade here, but honestly, this really depends on what your view on tech is. If you think that the world is ending here, which of course I don't think that's the case, but if you think that stuff is about to get really, really terrible and tech is going to lead the way down, Google is not one that you'd want to be in here. Let's see what happens when Google trades down to this 169 area. See if that can hold. That was that's the previous neckline that you were just talking about, 13. We'll see if it holds that area.
I'd wonder about the time horizon, like how long are you wanting to hold Google? I mean, if you're looking for a short-term play, that might be good. Medium term, maybe not. If you're looking to buy this thing and hold it for 2, 5, 10 years, I think this is just a fine company to own for the long term.
Me too. I don't like some of the stuff that they do, but it's just it's been such a good buy. Still there. Still think they've got a great AI angle. Obviously, if you're playing the quantum angle, that's probably a legit one too. Full 9 yards there. MLGO, by the way, pulled off that spot right there at the top.
Yeah, almost came down to my VWAP, and now it's trying to turn around and push back up. So we might
Krispy Kreme trying to bounce here after getting absolutely destroyed post earnings. We likely attribute the GLP-1 angle to that. DNUT here is your ticker DNUT. That's Krispy Kreme.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like these are the ones you want to look for, the ones that are real companies that have revenue that just are getting hammered. Riley,
by the way, stopped right at its VWAP, so that did not continue to go up here. Snow, pretty interesting. If we can maybe recapture this VWAP, maybe we do have another trade up here towards 190. Interesting to see Sava on the relative volume scanner here today. Cassava Sciences, remember this is the Alzheimer. There's a battleground stock between this is a fraud and this is a huge savior. This thing moving higher on some volume here. Did we have any news on Sava here today? Indeed, we did. Entered into an agreement with Yale University for a license to intellectual property rights, including an exclusive license to an issued U.S. method of treatment patent for simulaflam as a potential treatment for seizures related to rare neurodevelopmental disorders. I think they might be trying to expand there a little bit. That might be what that is. No position on Sava. I avoided that entire cluster F. By on purpose. I intentionally avoided that. By the way, tick chart here of internals of the market at the highs of the day. This actually represents the high of yesterday too. We didn't see a tick above what we just got there right now. Tick reading there 700. That's the highest I've seen. 730, 758. We're continuing to climb there. Breath also briefly turned positive there on the Qs and the Nice. SPY, Dow, and Russell still in the negative, but not far. Everything up off the lows. Market continuing to bounce here. It would appear that the gloom and doom was not correct, at least so far.
We're about to be 1 hour into this market. I ain't making any predictions.
That's good. The context is important, is it not, 13? Tesla, by the way, that would have been the one to play here. Tesla, big bounce here off that level. What do we have here? 10-point move here in Tesla. Apple near the highs. Netflix still bouncing. Goldman Sachs getting higher here. TZA continuing to get smoked. God, I am so glad I got filled on that. Those calls expire tomorrow, by the way, so that really needed to get closed here. Tick chart continuing to push higher above 800 now.
Man, we got so close to that 200-day SMA on Tesla, but that's a really nice bounce off that area. How low did we end up getting here? 280.
Be right back. 1 sec, 13.
So 280 and 88 cents, not too far away from where I was looking for a reversal. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to turn around and go higher from here. We could end up printing lower or even beneath the 200-day SMA, but this is more or less what I was looking for here. As I was expecting some of the Tesla bulls to start coming in and helping lift this back up because they don't want to see this gap fill. So a little bit outside of the range of 275 to 280 that I was looking for, but only off by 88 cents. I'm sorry, folks. I'll tighten that up. AMST round 3 fight. Get those 420 peeps out of here. You trying to break up the weed party? Let's see what we got here. Well, it's still trying to get back over and hold its VWAP. It's above its VWAP right now, but man, these wicks up here all morning just make it seem like there's a bunch of sellers in here that do not want this to go any higher. But until they get taken out, we're probably going to end up seeing more of this. But once we break through that 420, there might be some fireworks.
Which stock? Fireworks? Where?
AMST. We're still talking about how this is, it's trading above its VWAP. It's really trying to get above 420, but it seems like a series of sellers comes in every time it gets up there and tries to pull it back down. So until they get taken out, that's probably what we're going to end up seeing here with this one. Is just more of these these wicks on the top here from the sellers stepping in.
I'll tell you what, I look at this doesn't look great to me. I do like the series of higher lows here, but I feel like there's a rug coming. B. Riley again slipping beneath the VWAP here. Lower we go on that. Okay, let's check the Twitter streets and see what we can find out there.
Not a fan of those 420 wicks.
What's that?
We're just laughing at the fact that AMST is high. It's high for the day is 420.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Pot jokes all up in here.
Yep.
By the way, VIX backed off that 20 spot that it printed at 1887. It's holding there. Bitcoin also still trying to bounce here. Boy, I'll tell you what, the bounce in the SPY is really, really impressive. More so than the Qs and Bitcoin.
Well, it's starting to weaken again. All right. Is AMST still trying to get to 4 again? Here we go. Looking for 4, and then the magical 420.
Sure is.
But like I said, those sellers right above, between 4 and 420, they keep stepping in to try to push this down. Let's see if that happens here again. Looking a little bit better, though. Maybe they get taken out. Let's see.
More lift calls.
Here we go.
Those are the February ones. Which one?
The same one, AMST. Just went back up to 420 again. Now it's through.
There you go.
Just make sure you got you're pushing your stops up here, because I still feel like this. I feel like I could do that.
You just didn't get it out fast enough. Well, thankfully, I had told you this feels like a rug is coming.
I didn't
10 seconds ago.
I didn't trade this.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get the words out fast enough about raising stops for reasons like this.
Rugged right to the VWAP there. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
And it still might not be done, because it's still not completely breaking down. But once we start seeing that breakdown, and I would think losing VWAP and then 350, that I think is going to tell us when it's done for the time being. But so far, still sideways.
Bosnaldo, what's up, my man? Mentioning SoFi here. This also bouncing here. You know what? This underperforming some of the other financials. Nice little bounce there, though, on SoFi. Let's take a look at the daily chart here.
Riley might try to push up above its VWAP. But the volume is just crap. You just can't tell with some of these when the volume doesn't look great, and then they suddenly get the sudden expansion of volume, and then it takes it to where you want to go. So it's. I
mean, the volume can really pour in quickly there, especially on a stock like Riley. But I agree that's really kind of come in a little bit.
Those of you that were wondering if MLGO was a good buy at the spot, I think you can see now why I was trying to caution you about getting in at the high. Came right back down to 475. Now it's beneath VWAP. I don't know.
Don't how much. Chase.
Yeah, just don't chase.
Don't chase. Yes.
NIXX trying to turn around here. There might be something here, but it's still got to get through a bunch of EMAs. It's VWAP. It's going to have a little bit of a time here. If it can get to 2, then we can probably maybe get a little bit more serious about this. But right now, it's still got to show us that it can, it has the strength to move back up. And I need a little bit more confirmation on that.
HRTX here, new highs as this breaks 2. Huron there, and I know we've traded this one before. We didn't have it on the list here for today. Huron Therapeutic shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q4 financial results.
1 second here. With
volume less than impressive here on HRTX for a day trade, at least. MLGO is bouncing. B. Riley rejected at that VWAP on that low volume that you commented on.
Nice. So HRTX today, this is taking out its 500-day SMA on its way up to this 200-day SMA. If it closes over the 500, there might be another trade with this on deck tomorrow. But volume doesn't, really excite me here. But the technicals are interesting. So let's see if we can even get it, hold above this 500-day SMA. The GO you said was rebounding? Okay, well, I'd still like to see this get back over its VWAP.
Don't feel great about MLGO, honestly, especially after what we just saw.
Yeah. Just be careful, folks. A lot of these might just be done for the day or at least the morning. We just hit 10:30, so guess what that means? It means that we might start to see this volume dry up. People are already making lunch plans, talking. And hey, what'd you trade this morning? Oh, I got part of this. Did you short Nvidia? No, I didn't. All that kind of talk is probably going on right now as they try to figure out where they're going to go eat, and then they're going to have a lunch hour. Kevin Robinson mentioning RCAT and Archer.
Now, isn't RCAT having that investor presentation?
I don't know.
I believe that starts today. It's either the 27th or the 28th, isn't it?
I don't think I'm interested in RCAT until maybe it comes back down to its 200-day SMA. It just has a bearish chart on there. And I think if it does move up, we might not get a whole lot beyond 8, if we even get up to 8. I feel like if we do get up to 8, that'd probably be a good point to maybe take some profits, because I think it's probably going to end up going lower.
TD, this was the PR for the TD Cowen. That already happened.
Oops. Got the wrong ticker in there. Archer also looks like it could go lower. The daily chart is showing a pretty clear bear flag. Maybe it goes up to 9, but I don't feel great about wanting to buy Archer right now.
Here it is. Yes. Analyst will host an Investors and Analyst Day Thursday, February 27th from 11 to 1. That starts here in 28 minutes, that presentation. So get ready there on RCAT. And by the way, RIP Gene Hackman. Really
Yes.
sad to wake up to that news. I loved Gene Hackman. You know, he actually lied about his age in order to enlist in the Marines.
What a boss.
Just what an absolute boss. Crimson Tide, one of my favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
RIP to Gene Hackman. That was some sad news to wake up to this morning.
It's really weird too, because all of a sudden I was starting to get a lot of shorts on my YouTube feed of him in The Quick and the Dead.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really weird timing how I started getting all of these over the past several days, and then now we have the news that he's passed. It's like, what are you doing, Google, that you knew to start putting this out here in front of me, and then break the news that he passed on with his wife and dog?
Yeah, really sad.
Mm-hmm. And really concerning too. I mean, is there some kind of problem that they were having at the house, or they all died? Because
the only thing I can think of is carbon monoxide poisoning.
That's what I was kind of leaning
towards. That's what I don't know, and it's really, really terrible. But that's what I'm thinking. Anyway,
so unfortunate to lose one of the greats, but I'm sure we'll get him in memorandum or memoriam.
Hoosiers, man, that is, you want to talk about a classic. Oh my God, people still quote that. All right, root higher here. Looking around, looks like the was it Captain Cloudy that said this bounce is likely not going to hold, or doesn't think that the bounce is going to hold? Another little bit of a regressive move here. TZA trading back up as well.
Well, looks like TRNR is probably going to be done. LAES just had a nasty pull coming down to the consolidation from the pre-market now. AMST now trading beneath the VWAP. So once we broke through that 420, they just pulled it right back in. I don't know how much more is left here. MACD's starting to
look at this action.
Mm-hmm.
This is back and forth.
Looks like a drawing I did when I was 2. HRTX still strong though. 205 now the high, but it seems to have just completely stopped here for some reason. I don't think it's halted though.
Which one?
HRTX.
No, I don't see it as halted. No, 205.
No. Yeah, I don't think it's just not trading.
Starting to see more Tesla calls getting bought. That's still 10 plus 11 points now off of its low. Tesla, nice little bounce here.
Bria setting up for a double. You see what you're referring to here. Oh, this is a penny stock. Like what, a double bottom? Is that what you're talking about? This isn't moving fast enough for me to really have an idea of where we could see some bottom or top in this. I don't know about Bria. Sorry.
That's BREA. That's one that's been that's one of these little junky names that's been on the list here past couple of days. But I had that big move here on Monday after hours. It's done nothing since then. Krispy Kreme trying to bounce.
Let's see how some of these other names are doing today. It looks like AT&T not having a bad day at all. 2750 is a level I have here where it could go. And then if it happens to hold above 2750, $30 is the next level up. I no longer own AT&T after the run it's been on since the middle of 2023. I took it all off the table. I think and for a long-term gain, so I think I'm good. Plus, it's very extended here. I don't want to own things when they're this extended. You look at the RSI, we're approaching 80 on the daily.
Sorry, which ticker here? I'll throw it up on the chart for you.
This is AT&T.
AT&T.
Yeah. So it's and I think a lot of the lift it's been getting has been various headlines, but the fact that it's in the same ETFs with Meta, which has been on an absolute banger of a run, has helped lift some of these other communication stocks. Verizon, no exception either. This has also been on a great run too, coming up to a resistance trend line that may see it reverse probably at about $45, if not just beneath it, because this is also too very extended, over 70 RSI now. So
almost a double on AT&T from that 15 level.
Yeah, you remember I was talking all about.
Yeah, I do.
So they're great dividends, but they're very extended, and when they get this high, the dividend yields start to go lower, and I'm just going to wait something like this out. They still have a lot of debt and a lot of things they got to deal with, but great value plays too. Anyway, AMST still not finished here, recapturing BWAP. Just be careful with this one. You might get another push up over 420, and then it could slide it right back down, or it could run to this 475 that we were talking about earlier.
Red Robin might be able to move through 6 here. This every pull to the VWAP has been bought. Snow retraced part of its earnings pop here. I don't know if I trust any of these tech names yet.
I wouldn't trust Xiaomi.
Yes, speaking of tech here, that's the only Q's only ETF with green breath. What were you saying about Xiaomi? Oh, you were asking Cento here.
Somebody was asking about it, and I was like, I wouldn't trust that company. They went from smartphones to cars, and from what I've been seeing, the cars are not high quality. They're flashy, and I know that I think the Ford CEO says that he's been driving one, but look, I wouldn't take that. I would take that with an absolute grain of salt, because the Ford is trying to really get their collaborative brand with China off the ground. So I'm sure that was more of an appeasement for China to step into the car and talk about how great it is, when a lot of things I've been seeing about it kind of fly in the face of those comments. So I don't think I'd be trusting Xiaomi. If you get some strength coming back into the Chinese markets, maybe you see a lift in that stock with all the other China names. But I think there's probably better names out there.
Quick look at BABA here, down just under 1%. BABA's been on a great run recently. I wonder if that run is over. Tesla's doppelganger, TLSA, Tizania Life Sciences, on deck here today. Be careful if you're trading this. It does have a catalyst here today. Look, I've done it.
Be careful, because the same letters.
I've done it. I've punched it up, and I've been like, what happened? These numbers don't make sense. And I realize what's going on.
And people, trying to trade Stellantis, same ticker, same number, or same letters. I mean, as Tesla, just rearranged.
Yeah. Sweet green here. This is what a performance here. This was a miss on the top and bottom line. Definitely one of those growth names. Miss on the top and the bottom line. Sent the stock plummeting yesterday, selling off yesterday. Today, however, we've gone green, and boy, have we ever. 8.5% here to the upside. Did get some more lowered price targets here today, too. I believe that they said that they were affected by the fires in California, as a significant chunk of their revenue is generated from their California stores. Nice reversal, though, here on Sweet Green. I wonder if this has got some more legs. Interesting pullback level. Pretty much pulled back right to this 19.75.
Oh, so this is a organic health food.
Yes, sir.
Restaurant.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think the restaurant sector as a whole might be experiencing some weakness. If because we were talking about how the consumer might be really pulling back here with spending. That means they may not be eating out as much too.
Yeah. Do you also think that there's a possible pullback from like eating out at steakhouses to maybe downgrading to something like Sweet Green or Red Robin or even Portillo's, which I can't even believe beat earnings the other day? Because I just noticed that some of these smaller, I mean, I guess Cava was on such a bullish run anyway, though. That one I think is a little bit different. I don't know. It just seems like maybe some of this fast casual might be one of the areas to benefit if more fine dining gets pulled back from. And just thinking out loud, could totally be wrong about that.
Well, I don't like the Death Cross and Sweet Green that it had earlier this month. It's had been on a run with its Golden Cross since almost a year ago. So I would think that there's probably some more weakness or downside coming with stocks at that Death Cross recently. It is coming off of its a low RSI though. It went under 29 RSI, or I'm sorry, 28 RSI, rebounding off the 500-day SMA. So at the very least, there might be a move back up to like 2750 or 28. That could be an area where we start to see some resistance, but I still feel like this may end up going lower, just as a result of the technical move where the 50 crossed the 200 to the downside.
This guy saying $80 for a ribeye question mark. See, that's what I'm not. I love steak and I love going out to a nice restaurant with some really good company. There's nothing better. But man, I'm not thrilled about that either. And I actually just bought ribeyes from Costco, multiple for like $50. That was for the Super Bowl. Made them into Philly cheesesteak sandwiches for the Super Bowl, and it was phenomenal. Phenomenal. Also turned one of them into taco meat.
AMST really starting to fall here. I don't know if 420 is going to save it, but the MACD is indicating that this is about to roll over. So
5-minute chart looks concerning here.
Yeah. So if this doesn't turn around here in pretty short order, this might be looking into the lower. Oh, there it goes. Might be going down to the lower threes. Excuse me. Conditionally accepted mentioning eats. ESGL pops as market sniper. Thoughts on lemonade? Asks Anna. Okay,
you want to take a look at LMND?
Sure.
Actually, I haven't looked at that chart in a while. This actually might be a nice.
It's wow! What a nice move yesterday it had into today, coming up to the 50-day SMA. Let's see here. What do I think about this? Let me take a look at something.
I'll tell you what, I really wish it would have tested that 200-day. All of these moves, when they really come back in to either the 200 or the 500, depending on how much selling is going on there, it just feels so much better when they actually test the moving average than when they give you this little gap here. I just feel like this could roll over. Now, I will say if this recaptures 35.70, I think you probably print 40s next.
Yeah. I don't know about this move here. This might be more of a short squeeze that we're seeing here because you look at the short interest. We've got 33% of the float shorted with 8.5 days to cover, basically. But this company is not. It has revenue, but it's not profitable. I'd have to dig in to see just what the expectation is for when this is going to start to turn a profit, but it's losing tens of millions of dollars every quarter. And I feel like this is just a short-term bounce on the high short interest. I think I would feel better about owning this or, for the long term, if this is what I wanted to do, if it started to trade back above the 50-day SMA. But personally, I don't know this is something I'd want to hold. I'd have to see some more strength in this one. So first things first, let's see if we can even get back and close over its 50-day SMA. That'd be the first step I'd be looking for.
Good stuff. Sideshow, take care of yourself, man. Safe travels on the road tomorrow. We'll keep the seat warm for you. I'll see you back here next week.
Conditionally accepted. You're mentioning TX Texas Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
So let me ask you, is that like a faux pas down there in Texas, going to Texas Roadhouse, or is that like actually acceptable?
I don't think anybody gets. I haven't heard of anybody getting any heat for going to Texas Roadhouse. So I would say
that was you were living large when you and a group of buddies went to Texas Roadhouse during college. Those were some of the best nights. Man, oh man.
The thing that worries me about Texas Roadhouse is whether or not it can get through this consolidation that it started putting in from the middle of December last year until the beginning of this month. A pretty good amount of sideways action before it lost the 200-day SMA. Now it's trying to recapture it. And so it has the 200 and the 50-day SMA in the way of more upside, and it's got to still get through that consolidation. So several different things working against it here. I don't know if I feel great about this either, but it does have a nice double bottom that it just recently put in by finding support at, well, I guess we'll call this just below 168. So let's see if it can get through that consolidation. I mean, it could be a good one, but I just have concerns. Ooh. Oh, wow.
ESGL, this is popping on volume. What's going on here?
Yeah, Izzy, I think I saw that yesterday that Amazon announced a quantum chip. Let me just wrap up Texas Roadhouse here. So, like I said, recapturing 250-day SMAs, that needs to happen, and making its way through consolidation. We start to hold those levels. Like, let's say if it can get back above 180, that might be a good sign that this is trying to go higher. But still have a concern about the restaurant industry overall with a weakening consumer.
ESGL Holdings entered a share purchase agreement with D. Tomaso Automobile Holdings, agree to purchase from the DT shareholders the entire issue share capital of DT, consideration to be paid by ESGL at closing of deal to DT shareholders $1.3 billion. Stacks up 100% on this piece of news from $1 to $2. Not familiar with either of these, to be honest.
Yeah, conditionally accepted. Yeah, there's still plenty of Texans out here that eat Whataburger, even though it's now owned by a Chicago company. So I think you're right about that. Better steak places out here. Absolutely, 100%. I haven't been to Texas Roadhouse, to be honest. Like you just said, there are better steak places out here. And a lot of them tend to be these little hole-in-the-wall places that barbecue.
Yep.
They absolutely slay brisket out here.
Yeah, they do. That much I know. Some pretty good steakhouses here in Chicago, too. Not named Texas Roadhouse.
AMST, getting support from 65 EMA, but man, oh man, this thing looked like it's going to continue to be pushed down. There were so ESGL, let's take a look at that again, because that was a nice move.
That's just a piece of news there that drove that thing 100%.
Yeah, let's see if it can hold VWAP here. I don't like these upper shadows that the past 5-10 minutes have been putting in. The past 10 minutes now. This current 5-minute candle that we're in right here, we need to get above and hold above VWAP, and I would also say maybe 210. Otherwise, this is probably coming back in.
Chat, what do we think about HIMS? We think this is viable for a possible bounce here?
Take care, Amanda.
Safe travels. HIMS up 7.5% here today. Wonder, no position on this one. Actually, I know it doesn't have it real clean, but it almost kind of looks like Head and Shoulders here on HIMS.
Let's see.
Decent action here today, 41 to 45 off that bounce. And it did get above yesterday's intraday high. That's good news too. HIMS here, I really think that this probably needs to recapture this 48.5. So still a couple of points away here to really start feeling good about a return to the highs.
That 20-day SMA, if the price is rejected there, I think this could end up going under 30.
Okay.
This has got a bear flag formation happening here.
Gary. Oh. You guys never fail with the jokes.
Ooh.
Ever.
What just happened with Tesla? I just saw that TSLS just spiked.
Let's take a look here. Tesla pulling back, it looks like. Yeah, little bit of a volume pop in there. I didn't see any news come across the wire here. Oh, I see a Doge headline. I'm not sure if that's affecting Tesla, though. We'll see. Things definitely kind of seem to slow down here. Like I don't just mean like the individual names. Like we were talking about the SPY, how the SPY was really selling earlier, freaking a lot of people out. Then once a sufficient amount of people were freaked out, we bounced. Now we're pretty much just near flat, right? We are basically unch right here in the SPY. We're kind of consolidated really these last 30 minutes here. This last half hour we really haven't done much of anything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, that's because everybody's talking about what they want to eat.
Oh man, I'm going to my favorite Indian restaurant tonight. I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so good. Q's are pulling a little bit here, Izzy, but really it's not taking out this low. Still kind of trading sideways here. Sorry for running you over.
Oh, HIMS isn't oversold. It's the RSI is above 50. It was oversold, earlier this week. But it recovered off of that. And I'm just saying that if it cannot recapture that 20-day SMA, which I have right now at 47.61, I think it's going to go lower. It's going to lose the 50, and it might find better support somewhere under, just under 30. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And it may take some time for that to shake out, but that 20-day SMA recapture is, I think, going to be the thing to watch for.
Isn't this story really like the compounders? Right, like the big move up was definitely on the weight loss portion of Hims's business here, and there was the thought that they were not going to be able to get a lot of the ingredients that they needed to compound those GLP-1s, and I guess isn't that the whole story here on which direction this is going to go?
I haven't followed the GLP-1 space as closely as like you and Andy and somebody else.
Yeah.
So I really can't speak on that. I'm just kind of going off the technicals that I see here. So
yeah, that's fair.
So that's I'm just basing it off of just what I can see in front of my face, and I have not done my due diligence on HIMS, unfortunately. So I can only tell you what I'm seeing, and right now I'm seeing a bear flag. But I also do know that their GLP-1 space is the largest portion of their revenue. So.
Yep.
If that is affected adversely, so will too their stock price be.
One thing to keep in mind, speaking of the GLP-1s here, I just want to take a look at Lilly. Someone mentioned this earlier here today. Lilly, big level for me is going to be this, 960. I drew a really crappy line there. I'm sorry about that.
Big pull in NLGO.
We're kind of expecting that, were we not?
970-ish
on Lilly. That's going to be your next area of, do we take another leg higher here, or do we make a triple top? That should actually set up a trade. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about. Is the GLP-1 HIMS is down because they can't sell because Lilly has inventory. Remember, one of the moves down here in Lilly was that, are they going to have enough to fulfill these orders? And some of the other guys that use the compounders in order to get that product out benefited from that. Looks like that's kind of over or passing at least.
ESGL took out VWAP, now printing higher, 245, 250, now the high. Let's see, where is this going? Excuse me, let's take a look. See if I can get
double from 1 to 2, and now the next leg higher here.
This was a SPAC? Is that what this was?
Let's see. Does this tell us?
I mean, I see that prior to in 2023, it went from just kind of hanging out around $10 to spiking and dropping. That's usually indicative of a SPAC.
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, see, Lion Atlas has the right idea. It's the weather's nice outside, and
it was. Look, this went from having nothing in December 2019. Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay. All right. So
they announced the closing of a business combination. Here it was: Environmental Solutions Group Holdings and Genesis Unicorn Capital.
All right.
Announcing the closing of a business combination. That is your SPAC.
Okay, so
Good call.
they may have been done with their de-SPACing process. So that if this is something that's interesting to you, you may want to look at the redemptions and see if there's anything that would be holding this back from going higher. It looks to me like if this can get through 4, it could possibly 2x, but I don't want to say that that's what's going to happen. It just seems like that's possible. There's going to have to be some other news or some other headlines about its finances that's going to take it up there. But it seems like there are very, very few areas of resistance beyond $4 because it kind of just went straight down from 10 following this acquisition. So something to keep on your radar, ESGL. And I don't know anything about this company. I'm just kind of also going off the technicals again.
HRTX here, we took a look at that. This is actually a nice breakout there on the daily. This is still holding higher here, HRTX. Lemonade, by the way, has continued to trade higher. For the person who asked about that earlier, it's looking pretty good. Lion, take care of yourself. Enjoy those ribeyes.
Yep, Izzy, that's right. SPAC, always look at 10. Whenever you see a big old consolidation of price action at $10 for a long period of time, that is a SPAC for sure.
Yes, sir. All right, really good morning here. Just got a couple of minutes left before we sign off here for the day. I'll be honest, I was expecting, I guess, maybe I kind of bought into the hype, I guess, a little bit. I was expecting maybe more of a firework day today post Nvidia. We really didn't get much in terms of movement there. Really good stuff here today. Louis Navellier and Paul Meeks in the morning, and actually not terrible action here today. It looks like it dried up a little bit. None of the short-term trades for me. Swingport is rocking. Really just closed TZA calls today on that pop.
Timothy Ritter, no, not every single SPAC has failed, but I would say the majority of them have. So here's
DraftKings. So if you're ever looking into that, 13 is exactly right. A majority of them do. The most successful one that I can think of here is DraftKings.
DraftKings is one. Archer Aviation, even though that's
right.
Even though that's not yet profitable, that's another one that I would still consider to be pretty successful. They are getting their ramp up of the facility for production going. That's in Georgia. I think that could be considered a winner, even though we have not. It actually got back to 10 briefly, and now we're lower. But I think that could be a future good one. Another one is United Wholesale Mortgage.
Oh, that's right. UWMC. Is he mentioning Hood?
Yeah, there you go. So there are SoFi. There are some
good one. Yes.
There are some good SPACs out there, but I would say that yes, you're right. The vast majority of them easily fail.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it was clearly a money grab in a lot of those cases.
Oh yeah, Palantir.
All right, folks, really good stuff here today. 13, you got any closing words here for the group? We're going to be back tomorrow at this, but so I got it.
I know. Zoom in on me. So, folks, I mean, I guess the market was expecting one thing. We got something else. Keep your stops tight. Make sure you don't lose on any of these trades you're going to be taking because we've seen some of these get pulled down pretty hard. We'll be back here tomorrow, and we'll look for some more movers, and we will trade them, and we will make some money. So take care of yourselves. Maybe go touch some grass and have a good day. Enjoy your ribeyes.
Oh, all right. We're good closing there from 13. We'll see 13 tomorrow. Thanks for everything here. Folks, I'm out. Have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow. Remember, Mark Petrino and Stock of the Day in the morning. We're going to finish the week strong. Stay green.